That's right, Kirk Herbstreit. And with Bear's wall-to-wall coverage and long-lasting durable finish, you'll spend less time worrying about your walls,
which means more time for football.
For football. Upgrade your Saturday with Bear and the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne. Nashville's exclusive home for the Nashville Predators. 102.5 and 106.3.
79-52 Vanderbilt.
And I think he's going to coach him up by Cheryl.
You're going to see more moves.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Mixing sports and a little bit of fun.
This is fun!
On your morning drive. This is Robby and Rexrode. With Robby Stanley and Joe Rexrode. Presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty. On Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Ladies and gentlemen,
It's showtime.
Welcome into the Friday edition of Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Nick Keyser here with you on this Friday morning. Robby and Rexrode presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty. Call TJ's team today to see why they're referred to so often. We got a lot to get to on the program today. Jared Stillman dropping by at 7 o'clock. Teron Davenport, ESPN NFL Nation Titans reporter, will help us discuss the Titans and the Browns coming up at 8 o'clock. So looking forward to all that. Joe Rexrode, good morning. How are you doing?
Doing good. Did I mention I went to Wu-Tang the other day?
I think only twice.
Yeah, okay, good. I don't think I talked about it enough yesterday, so I think I might have a couple more bars today to drop too. So.
Oh, boy.
Or maybe not.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah.
We just have to keep people on their toes.
I will absolutely not do that.
Nick Keyser, good morning. How are you? How was Pred's training camp yesterday?
Yeah, it was good. I'm well myself. I'm tired, but I am doing well.
Long days out there sometimes.
Yeah, a very long time. But I'm used to that rink, which is nice. So that was nice. But yeah, I didn't do anything else the rest of the day. So yeah, been there, done that, and probably won't do very much more of a long day like that again. So
little Niners Giants action last night on Thursday Night Football. The Niners remain undefeated. Joe Rexrode, Brock Purdy. Still undefeated in the regular season as a starter. He moves to 8-0 in his career as a starter for San Francisco. And I didn't think he was great last night. Made a couple of really good throws. But that San Francisco team is just tough to deal with. That roster is just loaded, Joe. And I don't know if they're for sure the best team in the NFC. The Eagles are still there, and they're very good. And I think it may come down to those two again in the playoffs. But San Francisco, very impressive so far through 3 games.
Yeah, not going to lie and say I saw a snap of that game because it was my anniversary last night. But I did make sure that McCaffrey was in my lineup before heading out to dinner. So, yeah. So, now they're, 25 for 37, 310 and 2, for Brock Purdy.
That's pretty good.
Guy is, Debo. Look at Debo, 6 for 129 with a touch. And then meanwhile, you find out that, from Barkley is now a high ankle sprain, which is, all week it was kind of nah, just an ankle sprain. Oh, okay, well, that's fine. No, it's a high ankle sprain, as we usually believe is a very, very, is a longer term injury. There's been things that have been called high ankle sprains that were shorter term, but for the most part, that's what it is.
Yeah, it was kind of weird how they handled that all week of, well, it's just a normal ankle sprain. I think even on Monday, they were like, well, Saquon Barkley heals fast, so we're not ruling him out for the game Thursday. And then it ends up being a high ankle sprain. It's like, okay. What were you guys talking about all week? He had no chance of playing. Yeah. Just makes no sense whatsoever. But a little gamesmanship, I guess.
Yeah. When you're about to play the Niners, I guess you try to find every little thing you can. Maybe, hope they get preoccupied preparing for him, and somehow that helps you, I guess. But not great here for the Giants. Not great, but they could be a disastrous season if they didn't have the comeback they had last week. Total disaster.
That's the thing. They are a Arizona Cardinals blown second half away from being 0-3, which, obviously is a far cry. Dable was great last year, and that was a surprise team, and they made the playoffs, all these things. And Daniel Jones gets his big deal over the offseason, which right now is not looking great with the way that he's played to this point. But, it's 1-2. It's not total disaster, but they are, one game away, an Arizona game where they look terrible in the first half away from being 0-3. So we'll see what that looks like. Joe, the injuries continue around the NFL. Trayvon Diggs suffering a torn ACL in practice yesterday for the Dallas Cowboys. So, look, it's tough to see anybody tear an ACL, and it's tough enough when it's in the game. To me, it hurts a little more when it's in practice, when you're not actually, playing out there, just the devastation factor of it, because it just feels so unnecessary. But you're talking about so far already this year, Aaron Rodgers goes down with an Achilles. We saw the gruesome Nick Chubb injury the other night on Monday Night Football. And then yesterday in practice, Trayvon Diggs suffering a torn ACL on a defense, Joe, that I think was the best defense in the league. And watching them play through the first 2 weeks had a chance to be one of those special defenses that we've talked about, with some of the great defenses that we've seen. Romo was talking about that on the broadcast this past week, of how with the way that their contracts are structured and the talent that they have, that Cowboys defense could be kind of that next wave that we talk about, be that the Bears in the 80s or the Ravens in the early 2000s or the Broncos from this past decade. That's a tough loss, tough blow for the Cowboys with Diggs going down.
Yeah, it's terrible. And I say it every year, so I know it's every year, but it's like, gosh, I can't remember this many, key players suffering huge injuries. And obviously, Diggs is such a fun player to watch. I mean, I still think that defense can be exactly what you just said. But, and that's a guy who last year he was actually interesting player because he made a bunch of plays, but actually, the numbers on, stuff he gave up were not great. I mean, he's kind of a feast or famine player, but no doubt a special talent. And that's too bad. Don't forget when you talk about those great defenses, don't forget about the Giants, the Bill Belichick coordinated LT. I mean, I think those defenses were right there with the Bears in the 80s.
Yep, absolutely. Belichick, Parcells, tag teaming over there. Pretty good stuff. Pretty good coaching staff that they had on that Giants team as well. Speaking of injuries, the injury report out for the Titans yesterday, Joe, and Gifford, Anthony Kendall, Peter Skoronski all not practicing yesterday for the Titans. So Gifford, Kendall, and Skoronski not practicing Wednesday or Thursday. We know Skoronski's not going to be available coming up on Sunday against the Browns. But 2 days in a row of full participation from Christian Fulton, 2 days in a row of full participation from Amani Hooker. So you're feeling pretty good about those two heading into the game Sunday against the Browns. Harold Landry limited again with a hamstring on Thursday. Derrick Henry did not practice due to rest yesterday. So he had the toe designation on Wednesday. It was a rest designation yesterday for Henry. So looks like he's going to be fine for the game coming up on Sunday. But the Landry one still is the one where I guess you're worried about it heading into this game in terms of him being limited with the hamstring injury. Tier Tart back out there yesterday on the field. Didn't practice Wednesday, was limited on Thursday with a knee. So we'll keep an eye on that. And Danico Autry limited with the foot Wednesday and Thursday as well. But good signs for Fulton and Hooker.
Yeah, I mean, I think the secondary, this is going to be one of the good weeks. This is going to be an up week. So you have all those guys. Do you have all of them for the whole game? I don't know, but you think about the Titans last week, again, as we've talked about, Trey Avery battled. He made some plays. Mike Brown made a play. So, and they got it done when it mattered most. But there's no doubt that back end looks a lot better with Hooker and Fulton in it. So that's a big deal. I do look at Tier Tart. He went up to limited yesterday. Also, Hopkins is interesting because he went from full Wednesday to limited yesterday. I feel like with him, again, you get an ankle and it's like, well, you can either take 2 weeks totally off or you're probably going to have an ankle.
Well, he had class to go to yesterday. There's a nice screenshot of him
that was
participating
amazing.
Virtually in his class. So maybe some homework to get done. I don't know.
That is true. Good for him. That was really cool. Derrick Henry, it's interesting because I like if he did have turf toe at all, like I would think about shutting him down for a little bit. Yep. I mean, they designated it just as rest. So like you said, I mean, I take that as he's fine, but to use toe, I mean, that's one of those, these injury designations in the NFL need to get more specific. Is it like some sort of toe injury is whatever. Turf toe is terribly painful.
Couple of interesting ones to watch for the Browns, Joe. So Amari Cooper dealing with groin and shoulder injuries. He didn't practice Wednesday, was limited on Thursday. Greg Newsome, their very talented corner, has not practiced either one of the last 2 days with the elbow injury coming off the game on Monday night. And Zadarius Smith, dealing with an ankle and a thigh injury, didn't practice Wednesday, was a limited participant yesterday at practice for the Browns. Those three guys, Cooper, Newsome, and Zadarius Smith, really interesting to watch this week for the Browns. Obviously, three very important players for Cleveland there.
Yeah, and it doesn't seem great on the Newsome front. I'm sure Cooper is going to rally and play. Big Z, it's a good sign for him to be out there some yesterday. But yeah, Newsome, that's a guy who, by the way, Titans could have drafted. Very good player. But that would obviously hurt that still very good Browns defense.
No question about that. So the injury front, it looks like the Titans should be in decent shape coming up on Sunday against the Browns. Really, the question is offensive line. I would assume, Joe, with Skoronski not going to be able to go, I guess you're starting Radens, right? Like Radens came in, played well in the game on Sunday, and my guess is that that's going to be the way they go from the start of things on Sunday is Dylan Radens will be your starting left guard, and you go from there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know that there's we've seen Xavier Newman out there. I mean, that's pretty clear. I think that's a pretty clear decision. So, I think Radens will start, and that depth can be really tested if anybody else gets banged up. But the rest of that line, they want to keep they want to gel, they want to grow together. This is another really tough. I mean, this is one of the toughest overall opponents I think they'll see all season.
No question about it. 615-737-1025. We are off and running on Robby and Rexrode. We'll continue to take a look at the Titans and the Browns coming up. What has to go right for the Titans offensively in this game for them to leave Cleveland with a win? We'll get into that, break down the offensive side of the ball coming up next for the Titans. Make sure you tune in to 93.3 Classic Hits this Saturday for MTSU football. The Blue Raiders kicking off at 6 o'clock at home against Colorado State. Pregame beginning at 5 o'clock. You can hear all the coverage on the 93.3 Classic app and at 93.3classichits.com. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Nashville Sounds Baseball lives on 94.9 The Fan. Catch every pitch.
Swing and a miss, strike three.
Every hit.
That's a base hit.
Every run.
Looking up, it's gone.
On your home for Sounds Baseball. 94.9 The Fan and The Fan app.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, your favorite drafts are poured at a frosty 29 degrees, and rare barrel-aged whiskeys are served just the way you want them. It's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch? Every day, from lunch to late night. Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Stick around after the sun sets. Twin Peaks is open really late. Wind down with bourbon and late-night bites.
The two most sought-after, most prestigious names in bridal jewelry come together for one epic event this weekend at Genesis Diamonds.
Tacori and Verragio, the world's premier designers, are showing off their entire collections. All the latest designs, many showcased for the first time ever, with up to $5,000 in savings.
Everyone loves Tacori, meticulously crafted by master artisans in their California design studio. Discover the hidden details and exceptional quality that sets Tacori apart. There's always more than meets the eye with Tacori. Come explore the entire Tacori collection, including all new Tacori fine jewelry, earrings, bracelets, eternity bands, pendants, and more.
If you're engagement ring shopping, this is a once-a-year event you can't miss. Other jewelers aren't even allowed to carry these iconic American-made brands.
Also for this event, Genesis is showcasing an expanded selection of GIA-certified diamonds in all shapes and sizes.
Come join us and take advantage of special incentives, zero interest financing, and as much as $5,000 in savings. This Friday through Sunday, only at Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Hey, it's Chad Withrow to tell you about my favorite sportsbook and casino, BetUS.com. Football is back, and it's time to lay down your bets. I only endorse one sportsbook, and that's BetUS.com. BetUS is celebrating its 30th year of sports betting service with a special offer of up to 30 risk-free bets. That's right, up to 30 risk-free bets. It's called Bet Protect. BetUS.com also offers 125% sign-up bonus. Get started by visiting BetUS.com or calling 1-800-MY-BETUS to learn more. BetUS.com, sportsbook and casino, where the game begins.
C10 Nationals, the world's largest Chevy and GMC truck event, is coming to the Nashville Superspeedway September 29th and 30th. Packed with vendors and activities, autocross, swap meet, dyno, drag race, and more. Daily tickets $20 at the gate, and parking is free. More info at c10nationals.com.
Blue Raider fans, your home for all the MTSU football and men's basketball action is on 93.3 Classic Hits and 95.1 Classic Hits in the borough. Catch the action all season long with Chip Walters on the call. Go Blue Raiders!
Are you in the mood for authentic Chicago-style Italian food? Italian beef sandwiches, Vienna Chicago-style hot dogs? How about homemade pasta, chili, meatballs and marinara sauce, and more? Well, you need to check out this week's Nashville's Best Deal. Campione's at 401 Long Hollow Pike, Goodlettsville, Tennessee. Family-owned and featured on Tennessee Crossroads, this is delicious Italian-style food right here in Tennessee. Check them out now at thegamenashville.com/deals. Get half off now while supplies last.
We try to stay cool by being on social media.
I'm with it. I'm hip.
Follow us on Twitter at 1025thegame and on Instagram at 1025thegame Nashville.
Hey!
Oh yeah, and like us on Facebook too.
Good morning.
You're locked into Robby and Rexrode, presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty.
I had the radio on. I'm listening to
1025 and 1063 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Tune in for Nashville Sounds Baseball tonight at 6:35 on 94.9 The Fan. The Sounds taking on the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp, the Triple-A affiliate of the Miami Marlins. Sounds Baseball on 94.9 The Fan, presented by Farm Bureau Health Plans and Family Leisure. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode. We are live from our 1025 The Game studio, brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Looking ahead to the Titans and the Cleveland Browns coming up on Sunday. So, Joe, there are certain things about this matchup for the Titans offensively that I think we know, right? The offensive line has struggled early in games, and that has resulted in Ryan Tannehill being under duress, being under a lot of pressure, both in the Saints game in the first half, certainly in the Chargers game in the first half as well. And now you're taking on a defensive front in Cleveland that has Myles Garrett, one of the top handful of pass rushers in the league. Zadarius Smith, when healthy, also very effective at rushing the passer and getting after the quarterback. So logic would dictate, Joe, that the Browns are going to be able to have some success on Sunday at rushing the passer and getting after Ryan Tannehill, and that the Titans are going to have to find a way to counteract that. The idea of them just being able to hang in there and straight up block Myles Garrett or straight up block Zadarius Smith, I don't know is very realistic for the Titans on Sunday. So having said all that, as you look at the Titans, what they've been able to do offensively, we've talked a lot about Tim Kelly and his approach so far this week. What is realistic for the Titans on Sunday in your mind, and what has to happen for the Titans offensively in order for them to position themselves to leave Cleveland with a win and improve to 2-1 on Sunday?
Well, I think when you talk about, an offensive approach in a game like this, and obviously you're right, the Browns are loaded. I mean, Hurst is really good. They're good at every level. I think Newsome missing would hurt them, but Ward is excellent. Delpit is really good. Another one of those LSU kids who's just a really good NFL player. But I think the thing about this game is you also talk about that and think about the other side, because Jeremiah Owusu also one heck of a player, for them. You talk about being, I think, to me, like trying to possess the ball, run the ball, and just use your monster punter if you need to all day long. Cover those kicks. Make sure you cover those kicks. 17-yard gap between net and gross seems a little big to me, but play the field position game.
What angle are you trying to take there, Rexrode?
Exactly.
Thanks, Mike.
Yes. But you should be able to, you should be able to limit them. And so to me, offensively, you just don't turn it over. You don't give them short fields. You don't make the killer mistake. And you try to run the football, because a defense like that is most comfortable in obvious passing situations coming after your quarterback. And so, you try to run the football at them and make them uncomfortable and hit them with some screens and some different things that you do creatively. But I really think running the football is the order of the day. And You try to pop those play action. I think you may have to do. You think about the key play at the end of the game to Hopkins moving that pocket for Tannehill. Things like that. I mean, you're going to have to. If you the Pittsburgh game, they had Pickett moving a lot. They moved that pocket a lot with Pickett, and I think that's just kind of how you have to look at that, and you have to try to come up with some stuff to have some plays where Garrett just isn't going to be able to be part of the play. You hope, So, but to me, it's a very careful. Frankly, I think the Titans should be boring on Sunday because I don't think you have to score a ton of points to win this game. I really don't.
I agree. I think this is a classic example, Joe, of two teams that want to run the ball and are equipped to run the ball on Sunday, trying to do that. Now, obviously, Chubb's loss for the Browns hurts that tremendously, and we'll see how they handle that with Kareem Hunt coming in. The interesting part about that, Joe, is, though, and I know that we're 2 games into the season, so these statistics aren't completely, fleshed out yet. But, I mean, if you go back to last year, too, these were 2 defenses that were very good against the run. The Titans had the best run defense in the league last year. And so far this year, the Titans have the 5th best rush defense in the league. The Browns have the 4th best. So you're talking about a 2-game sample size. So there's not much to go on yet. But we know that Titans front is very good and very equipped to stop the run. And so far this season, Cleveland has been as well. Now, they've played Cincinnati, and Joe Mixon is a good back, but Cincinnati certainly more of a passing team than they are a running team. Najee Harris, good back, I think, in Pittsburgh. He's not lived up to what I thought he would be in the NFL so far, but they did a good job of slowing him down too. So Cleveland and the Titans, their fronts have been very good against the run so far. Cleveland giving up 65 yards a game rushing, as are the Titans. So the Titans and Cleveland combined are both giving up 65 yards rushing per game. So it's been tough sledding against these fronts so far running the ball.
It has. I mean, Pittsburgh's a big disappointment as a team trying to run the ball. Like you said, Najee Harris. I do like Jaylen Warren, by the way.
Yeah.
I think I actually drafted him and dropped him. How stupid in one of my leagues. But I get those fantasy football tidbits in for you.
You do.
But yeah, Cleveland the Browns completely just gobbled them up, and obviously they're having their own struggles right now. We were talking about injuries last segment. I had a really interesting situation with the Bengals with, do you play Burrow this week because you can't go to 0-3? And this obviously could affect the Titans next week, whether he'd play. I'd probably rest him and have him ready for Nashville, but, we'll see what they do. But, it is 2 offenses the Browns have faced that are kind of having their own issues a little bit. So maybe the Browns are, have kind of fattened up a little bit, feasted a little bit. And I think you see that a lot in the league this time of year too. I mean, you see some of these offenses that just aren't, they're clunky and they're not ready. And for whatever reason, they're not very good, but still we know the Browns have tremendous personnel. And look, I like the Titans' chances of running the ball a lot better than I like the Browns' chances. That doesn't mean I think the Titans are going to have some prolific day on the ground by any means.
Well, and it's going to be interesting to see how they use Henry and Spears in this game, because we saw, we've talked all week about the difference between game 1 to game 2 and the usage of those two. But can you find creative ways in the running game to get Spears the ball, right? They've handed it to him out of the gun. Jared was talking yesterday about, and TD was talking about this too, in terms of sets that you watch where you're used to them either throwing out of a set, whether that be in shotgun or you got 2 tight ends in and it looks like they're going to run and they hit the 70-yard shot on the play action, being unpredictable not only with your play calls but with your formations as well, and what that means for what you're going to do. I think that's going to be required again on Sunday for the Titans. But can you find some seams, and can Derrick Henry break loose? Derrick Henry in the first half of the Saints game, Joe, when he's averaging over 5 yards a carry, it was in some ways, tough sledding for Derrick Henry last week. 25 carries, 80 yards, kind of a grinded out performance. Is it going to be more of that for him on Sunday, or can he have one of those Derrick Henry style games where he's averaging, 4.5, 5 yards a pop, and that makes the rest of the Titans offense flow pretty easily after that? I don't know.
Yeah. And, you talked about Radens, playing this game. Hey, Raiden's had some really good run blocking reps in last week's game. Again, I feel like every time out, this offensive line that was built to protect the passer is a lot better, running the ball than protecting the passer. But then again, I think most offensive linemen, I don't care even if they, played for Mike Leach in college, still would rather, put their hand in the dirt and go fire off into somebody, But yeah, I don't know. I'm not, I guess, optimistic that Derrick Henry's going to that they're going to get this massive push and Derrick Henry's going to be able to, consistently get those 4, 5, 6 yarders like he did in the first half of New Orleans. You're going to have to, you try to find a big play or two as well. And I think last time he was in Cleveland, he had 1 or 2 of those.
How many points do you think it takes to win this game for the Titans? Because I'm looking at this matchup, Joe, and I think it might be first 1 to 20. If you can get to 20 points in this game, I think you might have a shot to win, which is not necessarily the most exciting brand of football, but I think that may be the way it plays out on Sunday.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think anybody gets into the 20s and they got to be feeling pretty good, and it may be 20 gets it done, 20 to 17, 20 to 16, something like that. And that's if it's and it could be more like 13 to 9. Okay.
Could be.
I really,
I hope not.
Yeah, no, I know. If this turns into a back and forth shootout, that'll be the shocking outcome. I just can't see it.
615-737-1025, our phone number. We'll take your thoughts on the Titans matchup against the Browns. What has to go right for the Titans offensively? What are you most curious about in this game to see what the Titans can get done offensively against that Browns defense, which has been very good so far through 2 games? 615-737-1025. We'll continue the discussion on that coming up next. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
Hey guys, it's Mike from Newton Nissan South in Shelbyville. You know what time of year it almost is? Spooky season. But we're not about scaring your kids. We want them to have an amazing Halloween experience. That's why we host one of the largest trunk or treats in Middle Tennessee each and every year. And this year, we're back to hosting in person, not as a drive-through anymore. Get ready with your best costumes and walking shoes because on October 29th, from 3 to 5 p.m., we'll have 2 hours of trunk-or-treating, contests, pizza, and of course, a whole lot of candy. We can't wait to have fun Sunday afternoon with you, rain or shine. Mark your calendars for October 29th from 3 to 5 p.m. at Newton Nissan South, 2801 Highway 231 in Shelbyville, just 15 minutes from Murfreesboro. That's October 29th from 3 to 5 p.m. Follow us on Facebook to stay up to date. And don't forget the website, NewtonNissanSouth.com.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
I think my battery's dead.
With free battery testing and charging, we can help you get back on the road.
Get in zone.
So what if I need a new one?
No problem. We have the right battery for your car, starting at only $89.99.
Get in zone.
And what about my old battery?
We can recycle it right here at America's #1 battery destination.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Texting enrolls you in recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Leaving for the gym so early?
I'm ready to go.
Since you started taking Nugenix Total T, you've been acting like when we met in our 20s.
I feel like myself again. Lower testosterone after turning 40 slowed me down. Nugenix Total T has been a game changer for me.
What is it about Nugenix Total T that's different?
Well, it's a patented key ingredient called testofen. It boosts free and total testosterone to help you get back the drive and energy from your youth. It's backed by 5 clinical studies.
I've seen the huge difference it's made for you in the gym, at work, and in the bedroom.
I'm so glad I sent them a text for my complimentary bottle. Text SAVVY to 321321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. Nugenix is the #1 selling testosterone boosting brand at GNC and Walmart. Do it now, and we'll also send you a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, our newest, most powerful fat burner ever. Absolutely free. Text SAVVY to 321321. That's SAVVY to 321321.
This is Buster Olney, host of the Baseball Tonight podcast, inviting you to join us
We go 3 days a week with great guests from players such as Mike Trout and Carlos Correa, managers like Dusty Baker and Dave Roberts, general managers like Brian Cashman and Alex Anthopoulos, and our regulars, Tim Kirkchin, Sarah Langs, Jeff Pass, and Carl Ravitch. Baseball is a great fishbowl of humanity, and we go big game fishing every day. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
They're homegrown in Nashville, discussing the biggest topics in the SEC.
The fans are going to want the rivalries to stick around. They've lost to Alabama every year.
The NFL.
What if all the top 3 quarterbacks went 1, 2, 3? You've got to draft your guy at 2.
And anything in between.
From thinking we know everything to then forgetting about everything we thought we knew the day before.
They're Jonathan Hutton and Chad Withrow on Outkick's Hot Mic.
Out of the gates, ready to go.
Weekdays from 2 to 5 on 94.9 The Fan and The Fan app.
Hey, this is Jordan Rogers, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 The Game.
Welcome back in. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robbie Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Nick Keyser here with you on this Friday morning. We're taking your thoughts on the Titans. 615-737-1025, our phone number. 615-737-1025. Make sure you check out this week's Nashville's Best Deal. It's Campione's Taste of Chicago, located at 401 Long Hollow Pike in Goodlettsville. Campione's is a family-owned, award-winning restaurant for Sumner County's best Italian dining and lunch spot. Try one of their Chicago-style hot dogs, Italian beef sandwiches, lasagna, homemade pasta, and more. Get half off a $20 gift card at thegamenashville.com/deals while supplies last. Looking ahead to the Titans and the Browns, we have Jared Stillman coming up at 7 o'clock. Get his thoughts on the game as well. And yet another loss to Joe Rexrode in Jared versus Joe. Joe, I believe that's I want to say 6 out of 7 victories for you. 6 out of 7, I believe, is the number.
Yeah, who's counting? I mean, again, that's still a mass. Well, that's a massive disappointment. Yeah, apparently you are. That's a big disappointment. Again, any human being who loses, who quote unquote, air quotes, loses a sports argument to Jared Stillman should feel great shame.
That is true. We'll have more on that coming up at 7 o'clock. The Titans and the Browns offensively. The Hopkins part of this, how much healthier is he this week than he was last week? That's going to be the question. Like, has the ankle gotten better? It was clear. I mean, he didn't practice last week. Vrabel talked after the game on Sunday about basically leaving it up to Hopkins, and that Hopkins is one of those players in the league that you just kind of trust his judgment. He's been around long enough to know when he can go, when he can't. Obviously, Hopkins plays last week. 4 catches, 40 yards. Not a huge day statistically, but some big catches in the game, including the one in overtime that set up the game-winning field goal for the Titans by Nick Folk. But is the ankle better this week? How much better is it by the time Sunday rolls around? And what does that mean for the matchup against the Browns? And, the Greg Newsome part of this is big, too. They still have lots of talent in the secondary, and it's not like this is just going to be some trash secondary that the Titans are playing if Greg Newsome can't go. But Newsome, a very good player, and if he can't go, I'm interested to see how the Browns try to go about covering Hopkins and, of course, Burks, too, who has not been on the injury report this week, which is very good news for the Titans after what happened on Sunday and his availability in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, no, it is good news. It's also interesting looking back at the last game, the fact that they had quite a few snaps there with Moore and NWI, and both Burks and Hopkins off. They had a few at least. I think Moore and NWI, the defense thinks run. I think like it's more the run blocking person. As I said, Hopkins had some good blocks, but you think about that, and then you think about play action, NWI touchdown. No, I don't think that the Chargers should have been surprised they were throwing because they had just blown up a Derrick Henry run and put him in kind of a tough situation. But they went play action, it worked, and NWI scored. So I thought maybe, that Burks, maybe tweak something, but apparently not, which is a huge deal for this team. So, and with Burks, I think you've got more and more, I'm not saying a steady diet, but I think you need to try to go vertical to him some more. I know now it's on tape. So, Jim Schwartz has seen it on the film this last week, but I think he's definitely the big play guy. I think also still yard after catch for him and trying to just give him some space and let him go. But this offense benefit a whole bunch if that can become a little bit more of a regular feature of this offense, and maybe a little Chris Moore too.
Well, really, the big story of the game offensively, Joe, is how do you go about preventing Myles Garrett from totally wrecking the game? Most of the time, he's probably going to be lined up across from Andre Dillard. So, obviously, that is a huge challenge for Andre Dillard. That's a huge challenge for any offensive tackle in the NFL. So, if you're the Titans, how do you go about making sure that Myles Garrett doesn't single-handedly ruin what you're trying to get done offensively? Obviously, I think you're going to see some help. You're going to see some chips from the tight end on Myles Garrett. I think it would probably be wise for the Titans to try to get the ball out pretty quickly for the most part. Like you said, I mean, there's going to be some times where you want to take some shots down the field, but that's really, to me, the main question heading into the game Sunday for the Titans offensively is how do you prevent Myles Garrett from single-handedly just totally destroying your front and wrecking the game offensively?
Yeah, throw it fast. That's one thing you probably do, but yeah, I think every opponent obviously gives him the most attention. He still finds a way to be a big factor in these games, and that's where a guy like Big Z is important in this game, because if he's healthy and he's playing at his highest level, like if it's Hubbard, and again Garrett will move around, but if it's Hubbard, can Hubbard handle Big Z? That's a huge question for this game. I mean, can you put the other whoever is on an island with Za'Darius, and they got other guys too. I mean, Wright and Okoronkwo,
yep.
And they got some good players, but that's what you have to do. I mean, obviously, because to me, it's like a chip and a back with Garrett and your tackle, who you hope can just provide some resistance at all to him. He's special.
Yeah, no question about that. And then on the other side of the ball, like I would imagine some of the conversation, like the Titans don't have a Myles Garrett on the other side of the ball, like defensively. They do have Jeffrey Simmons, and they do have Danico Autry, and they do have, we'll see, Harold Landry. I mean, that's the one to me that I'm really looking at from a pass rushing standpoint right now is Landry with the hamstring. Is he going to be able to go? And if he is, how limited is he going to be? We've talked about Landry, but this is not like he's coming off the ACL. He had like the abdominal stuff going on, and now you've got the hamstring. So in a few weeks' time, this is the third different injury that Landry is dealing with, and a limited participant each of the past 2 days. How ready and available is he going to be on Sunday in that matchup? But, I mean, Key, Simmons, Danico Autry, like the pass rush for both sides. If you're the Titans' offensive line and the offensive staff, and if you're Cleveland's offensive staff, you're sitting around looking and going, man, we got a big challenge on Sunday trying to slow down these guys.
Yeah, like someone is going to have to maybe overachieve a little bit on some snaps alone with a good pass rusher, It's both sides. So, and I look for Arden Key to maybe assert himself a little bit more in this game than he did last game. Still made an impact for sure. Yeah, the Landry things, just pure speculation on the injury front, but obviously sometimes guys have a serious injury, and then it's like you start having minor injuries elsewhere because there's such a focus on, staying healthy with the big injury that you are coming off of and things like that. But as we also know, the hammy virus tends to creep into Tennessee Titans football. So, I'd like to see, if he's limited or can't go or whatever. I mean, you'd like to see a little bit more from Rashad Weaver,
Yep.
I mean, Rashad Weaver, I kind of thought, and I think some of it is just opportunity because they're just, frankly, just guys ahead of him. But, here in year 3 for him, and he's had some nice stretches with this team, but, you'd like to see him maybe make an impact in that way too.
Let's go to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and welcome in Mark in Nashville. Mark, good morning, buddy. How we doing?
Yeah, how you doing, Robby? What's up, Joe?
We're good, man.
What's up, Mark?
Yeah. Hey, Robby, you were talking about the defensive lines for both teams. I think that with Dillard, you're going to have to give him some help. You're going to have to leave some tight ends in to help block Garrett. You're going to have to do that. I think it's going to be a defensive struggle. You were saying 1st to 20. Robby, I wouldn't be surprised if this game ended up 10-9, man, or 13-10. It really wouldn't surprise me because both teams have such great defenses. and whatnot. But before I go, Robbie, I wanted to get this in to Joe, and I want you to agree with me on this, Robbie.
Okay.
I texted Joe the other day. Joe won again. I got Joe 8-1. I think you said 6-1. I think it's 8 out of the last 9. Isn't it?
That's
yeah,
a pretty good
I think
run.
it is. Yeah, pretty good run. But Robbie, I told Joe the other day. I said, "Hey man, you ought to give me a shout out every time because Joe, I have changed your demeanor. I have got you to be aggressive. I have gotten you to sit there. Joe, I've been like a scout for you, man, because I sit there and listen to Stillman talk and stuff, and I know he's coming on today and stuff. And, you know, I really love to take the loser on right now. He is the loser. So what I'm saying is, Robbie, Joe's demeanor, if you ever notice, Joe's gotten aggressive. He debates Stillman harder. He doesn't sit there and he's turned Stillman's strength into his weaknesses. So would you agree, Robbie? Joe should be sitting there giving me a shout-out every time, man.
Mark, I think you are like the Deion Sanders in Joe's life. You've come in and immediately have changed things around, and the results speak for themselves.
Yeah,
like
hey,
life
Joe,
coaching.
Hey, Joe, and I do take receipts. So there you go, man.
That's right. That's what I'm
I
talking
do take
about.
receipts. Hey, but y'all have a great day, good weekend, Robbie. Just wanted to call and say that. You need to shout me out more, Joe. Remember that now, man.
I will. Now, I gotta say though, as you guys know, if you listen to that segment, I mean, Jared will just go on and on.
It's hard for him to shut up sometimes.
Yeah, you know. So I mean, trying to get that, but I got you last week. I'll get you again. Don't worry.
Well, Joe, the one win he did win, I think Caroline felt sorry for him. That was a gift. Come on, man. Derek Carr, Andy Dalton. Come on, man. That wasn't even a debate. And then the other day, recruiting is not important. You know, the portal and all that. Man, it really was. It really was. But, hey, fellas, y'all have a good weekend. We'll talk to you next week, man.
Mark, thanks for the call, buddy.
Right,
Appreciate you. Yeah, I mean, I did enjoy the high school recruiting doesn't matter much anymore in the college football landscape take from Stillman the other day. That was good.
Yeah, the last the last year's national championship was only 97% of their players were came to them via high school recruiting. So I mean data schmata.
Mark says 10-9 on Sunday for the Titans and the Browns. Could be a really just a slot fest out there offensively. But the Titans did get to 27 last week, so this could be the changing of the guard, the turning of the page for the Titans offensively. If they get into the 20s 2 weeks in a row, Joe, I think I may be officially ready to anoint Tim Kelly.
Yeah, well, yeah. If he gets in the 20s this week, we start really throwing the flowers his way. Maybe this will be like one of those things where it's like 34-31, just completely different kind of game than we thought. That happens sometimes.
It does. Deshaun Watson goes off. He can actually, complete forward passes in this offense. We'll see what happens on that front too.
I mean, look, if I'm Deshaun Watson, I look at the Titans and it's like the key is the big plays. The key is hitting some of those big shots. This team gives them up at times. You got to do it. So maybe he'll hit a bunch.
Coming up next, it's time for Call Your Shot Friday. We'll take your thoughts on the Titans and the Browns, college football, big weekend of college football coming up this weekend. Lots of very intriguing matchups. We'll take your thoughts on that. 615-737-1025. Your called shots, your bold predictions for this weekend in sports. That's all next. This is Robby and Rexrode, 1025-1063, The Game.
Every Wednesday at 8:30. Call. Join Robby and Rexrode for The Choice is Yours.
2 sports questions, 2 non-sports questions.
They'll answer a couple of questions about life and sports. The Choice is Yours is built by Jarrett Companies. You have a choice. So when you have a need for site and utility work, fire protection, concrete and asphalt services, the choice is simple. It's Jarrett Companies. For more, visit JarrettCompaniesInc.com. The choice is yours. Wednesdays at 8:30 on 1025 and 1063 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Football is back, and so are the deals at Electronic Express. Come into any of our convenient locations and save big on 4K TVs from your favorite brands like Samsung, LG, Sony, and more. Electronic Express has huge savings in every department. Computers, appliances, housewares, Bluetooth speakers, and more. Save up to 40% with up to 60 months special financing. Score amazing deals in-store or online at electronicexpress.com. Electronic Express. We make it happen.
The two most sought-after, most prestigious names in bridal jewelry come together for one epic event this weekend at Genesis Diamonds.
Tacori and Viraggio, the world's premier designers, are showing off their entire collections. All the latest designs, many showcased for the first time ever, with up to $5,000 in savings.
Everyone loves Tacori, meticulously crafted by master artisans in their California design studio. Discover the hidden details and exceptional quality that sets Tacori apart. There's always more than meets the eye with Tacori. Come explore the entire Tacori collection, including all new Tacori fine jewelry, earrings, bracelets, eternity bands, pendants, and more.
If you're engagement ring shopping, this is a once-a-year event you can't miss. Other jewelers aren't even allowed to carry these iconic American-made brands.
Also for this event, Genesis is showcasing an expanded selection of GIA-certified diamonds in all shapes and sizes.
Come join us and take advantage of special incentives, zero interest financing, and as much as $5,000 in savings this Friday through Sunday, only at Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs.
It's Raymond and Austin. We're back on All-Star Sports Radio. Celebrating their 30th year, our sportsbook and casino sponsor, BetUS.com, is offering a 125% sign-up bonus plus up to 30 risk-free bets.
It's called Bet Protect, the perfect offer for crazy plays, like the famous butt fumble. It's the GOAT of embarrassing plays.
Really, remember when you bet me you could do a live show with a GOAT as your co-host, and he face-kicked you?
Thankfully, I didn't take the under on that one.
Anyway, folks, get Bet Protect today. The industry's biggest 125% sign-up bonus plus up to 30 risk-free bets. BetUS.com, where the game begins.
Vanderbilt Commodore fans, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game, along with 94.9 The Fan, is your new home for broadcast of games and the Commodore Hour on Monday evenings. Catch all the action for football, men's and women's basketball, and baseball all season long. Go Doors!
Discover credit cards automatically double all the cash back you earn at the end of your first year, which means... Wait, hold up. Question for the audio engineer.
Go ahead.
Did I read that right? Discover automatically doubles all your cash back?
Yeah, that's what the script says.
So if I get a Discover card right now, I can earn twice the cash back.
Apparently. Wait! Unlimited first-year cash back match, only from Discover. See terms and learn more at discover.com/match.
New home. New energy. Same Blue Raiders.
99 yards! Touchdown, Middle Tennessee!
Catch every game for MTSU on 93.3 Classic Hits. Coach Rick Stockstill is poised to lead his team to yet another bowl appearance.
We're really excited about this opportunity.
Your home for the Blue Raiders is 93.3 Classic Hits and the Classic Hits app. You're locked into Robby and Rexrode.
Every morning, first thing.
Presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
The sports weekend has arrived. You know what that means.
Shoot your shot.
It's time for Call Your Shot Friday with Robby and Rexrode on ESPN 102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
It's that time of the week, time for Call Your Shot Friday here on Robby and Rexrode. We'll take your called shots, your bold predictions in the world of sports on our text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Joe Rexrode, how did we do last week in Call Your Shot Friday?
There we go. See, that does not
pause.
count as a mute. Thank you. That was just a pause. I didn't try to talk. I knew I was muted. Thank you. Okay. Well, we had a lot of shots last week, let's get to them. Let's go to Nick's first. Nick says Hopkins will catch the Titans' first touchdown of the season and get 150 yards receiving. That did not happen. He said Tannehill throws for 300 with 2 TDs and a pick. He did have the 2 TDs, right? Yes.
He only threw for 1, I believe.
They only throw for 1 touchdown. Yep. He threw the 1 to NWI.
Yep, I think it was it.
They scored so many touchdowns. The Derrick Henry got one in, and he ran one in, didn't he?
Correct.
However, Nick did say Titans win by 3, so that was part of that shot. So well done, Nick. MTSU allows 21 points to Murray State, but will win. Elijah Metcalf 2 touchdowns. I know they won.
They did. I had a good day about the rest of it.
We'll just say
Neither
he didn't
Nick.
get it.
Yes.
Yeah, you got to follow up on your shots, man. Okay. Robby says Tannehill passing touchdown on the first drive of the game. It took them a little while to get going. Joe Milton, 2 shots of 40 yards or more against Florida. 1 will be a touchdown. In fact,
I think
he
that
had
hit.
2.
Yeah.
That did hit. I mean, it actually exceeded that. Jalen Wright, 183 rush yards versus Florida. That did not happen.
Should have gone
Colorado's
Trevor Etienne.
Yeah, exactly. Colorado State will take down Colorado. Boy, you were awfully close to that happening. Yes. And the Texans Colts will tie, just disrespecting the Colts. I'm sure Indy Ben noticed.
Taking receipts.
Dominating Colts. A strong, strong number 3 in the AFC South, Indianapolis Colts. I said Derrick Henry 2 rushing touchdowns. All he had to have is Tannehill. Flip him the pitch on the option. He'll run through Derwin James, and I'm right. Tannehill, 215 yards plus passing Sunday. Ding, ding, ding. Yes, thank you. By the way, it took that late shot to Chris Moore to make that even possible. Trey Avery will have a pick. He did not. Joe Milton, 250 yards plus passing Saturday. Ding, ding, ding. Thank you. I had Jalen Wright with 175, so you and I are on the same page and both wrong. And Nate Clifton, game-winning scoop and score for Vanderbilt at UNLV, did not happen. Of course, they did have a chance with a late pick to win on a defensive return off of it, but they did not.
Nick Keyser, your called shots for this week as we begin another week of Call Your Shot Friday.
Okay, yes. So Zach Lyons will love me for this one. Puka Nacua for the Rams will get his first touchdown because he's not had one yet, but he's played really well.
Catching a lot of passes.
I'm going to say he gets 130 yards receiving versus the Bengals and gets a touchdown this week.
All right.
He has been a stud so far, and I think he continues that until Cooper Kupp comes back. My second call.
Puka Nacua shots. I like it.
My second called shot is going to be that Nashville SC because they are back in action. I have to give them a little bit of credit here because they won the other night, so might as well go into San Jose. I say they win 4-0 or 4-0, excuse me, on Saturday, and Hani Mukhtar gets a hat trick in this contest.
Offensive explosion.
And my final called shot, because the Saints are taking on the Packers this weekend, Robbie.
Good luck to you.
I'm not sure how much of a called shot this is going to be, so Joe, you can give me all the judgment you want, but I say that the Saints get 4 sacks and a win by 10 against the Packers on Sunday.
4 sacks against that Packers offensive line would be pretty good, so it counts as a called shot.
Yeah, that's a shot. I think a double-digit win over the Packers. Yeah, we'll allow that. That's fine.
Joe Rexrode, your called shots for this week.
All right, we'll start with the college games. I got one for each of those. Ray Davis, 3 touchdowns for Kentucky against Vanderbilt.
Jeez.
Yeah, I think Ray Davis. I think Kentucky's going to give him those opportunities. He's been a really nice pickup for Kentucky. He's been a big loss for Vanderbilt, and Kentucky remembers losing to Vanderbilt. That's the unfortunate thing about this week for Vanderbilt is there's no sneaking up on Kentucky. Dylan Sampson will score 2 touchdowns for the Vols against UTSA. This is a classic. Yeah, we got a kid putting stuff on social media. Somehow he didn't touch the ball last week. He's
gonna play.
Let's get him involved. He's gonna play and score 2 touchdowns. You think he's not gonna play?
Yeah, he's gonna play.
Yeah, he's gonna. Yeah, they need to get him going. He's too talented to not be involved in some way. Rashad Weaver, I mentioned him earlier. I'm going to mention him again. Scoop and score touchdown for the Titans. I feel like I'm having a lot of scoop and score shots here in this this year. But I like Rashad Weaver is the beneficiary of. You know what? Let's even be more specific. He's a beneficiary of an Arden Key sack. Okay,
I like it.
So we'll have Key with the sack, and Weaver with the touchdown, and finally Traylon Burks will have more than 100 yards receiving, and I believe that is a shot for this matchup.
I believe it is as well. Very nicely done. All right, my called shots. Danico Autry, a strip sack of Deshaun Watson. Going up on Sunday. Tyjae Spears will score the first touchdown of the game for the Titans. So Spears with the opening touchdown of the game. Nico gets in that game on Saturday and will complete 80% of his passes. 80% completion percentage for Nico, and the people will be buzzing after that game.
Oh, boy.
And finally, Joe, Notre Dame takes down Ohio State by 2 touchdowns. A 2-touchdown win for Notre Dame, Sam Hartman, and the Fighting Irish against Ohio State. Now, that's a called shot.
That's a shot. And if that happens, then the Sam Hartman for Heisman campaign, I'm sure he's going to be rolling along then.
Oh, yeah. No question about
that. If that's the case, he looks awfully good so far.
Let's go to our 1025 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and welcome in Weston. Weston, good morning. Thanks for calling in.
Good morning, guys. I got 3 college shots for you real quick, all college football related.
Okay.
I have UCLA knocking off Utah this weekend.
Oh, okay.
I have Colorado winning a last-second field goal against Oregon. and then I have Sam Hartman throwing for 350 yards, and then Ohio State's quarterback having 2 picks in that game.
Ooh,
and
nice.
Notre Dame winning by 2 touchdowns.
We're on the same wavelength there. Thanks for calling in, Weston.
Yes, sir.
So he has Colorado winning, too. Colorado, a 21-point underdog, taking on Oregon on the road this weekend, Joe, with no Travis Hunter in the game.
That's a shot.
That is a shot. But let me
that
tell
would
you,
be something.
If people are – we've heard from some people this week that are a little tired of, like, the Deion mania going on. If they beat Oregon, I'm just here to tell you, it's only just begun. Like, if they go on the road with no Travis Hunter and they take down Oregon, be a lot of Deion talk next week would be my guess.
Yeah, I mean, I've totally blown it not trying to figure out some way to write about Deion at The Athletic. I'm the only Athletic employee who hasn't written a story about Deion. It's very disappointing. It's shameful, actually.
Mayor in Mount Juliet's called shot is Nashville Predators will win their preseason opener against the Florida Panthers. Does that count as a called shot, Joe Rexrode?
No. What?
God, no.
Now, a week ago, South Carolina will upset number 1 Georgia. That's a great shot, and it was looking awfully good, but no. Come on. You trolling us?
Ben on the text line says the Browns will have less than 50 yards of rushing offense, but the Titans still don't win. Less than 50 yards rushing for the Browns, and yet the Titans still lose the game.
Okay. That's a pretty good shot. I mean, the less than 50, if Nick Chubb were playing, that'd really be a shot. But I think the combination of those two things, that counts.
I got a Bears fan on the text line that says Justin Fields rushes for 175-plus yards, and the Bears-Chiefs game is surprisingly watchable. This is from a Bears fan on the text line.
That is a huge shot.
Maybe that's a new plan for the Bears. It's just every time Fields drops back, just take off. Just give it about 2 seconds and then take off run. See what happens. Why not?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, his coaches may be so mad at him they're not going to tell him anything now the rest of the week. You know, he's just going to be on his own out there. Zach's very excited about Puka Nacua.
Who isn't?
Ooh. Oh, Zach, this is a great idea, story idea. If Vrabel leaves for Ohio State, is Deion coming to Nashville? Oh, my God, that's beautiful. Thank you, Zach. I'm going to get started on that as soon as the show ends.
615-737-1025. We'll continue to take your called shots, your bold predictions, all show long on the text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Coming up next, we'll be joined by our good friend Jared Stillman. We'll get into another victory for Joe Rexrode in the competition, Jared versus Joe. Also look ahead to the Titans and the Browns, the keys to victory for the Titans coming up on Sunday. All that next. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
All the big plays.
Touchdown, Tennessee!
All the big stories.
I fully expected DeAndre Hopkins wanting a one-year deal.
All in one place. We are Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3.
Touchdown, Tennessee!
You're going to make a trade like this.
Does he want to retire a Tennessee Titan?
The door's on the board.
Such superstar players. The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Hey, this is the Fat Jack. We're in the middle of September. How is your gambling going? It is time to make some money, and I have got a deal for you. My once-a-month $99 weekend special. Go to FatJackSports.com, and this weekend only, it's only $99 to make money all the way through Monday. That's all the football, NFL, and college, and the free bases. Only $99. Go to FatJackSports.com. Sign up today, and in September, into profit, stop guessing, and start winning at FatJackSports.com.
The two most sought-after, most prestigious names in bridal jewelry come together for one epic event this weekend at Genesis Diamonds.
Tacori and Viraggio, the world's premier designers, are showing off their entire collections. All the latest designs, many showcased for the first time ever, with up to $5,000 in savings.
Everyone loves Tacori, meticulously crafted by master artisans in their California design studio. Discover the hidden details and exceptional quality that sets Tacori apart. There's always more than meets the eye with Tacori. Come explore the entire Tacori collection, including all new Tacori fine jewelry, earrings, bracelets, eternity bands, pendants, and more.
If you're engagement ring shopping, this is a once-a-year event you can't miss. Other jewelers aren't even allowed to carry these iconic American-made brands.
Also for this event, Genesis is showcasing an expanded selection of GIA-certified diamonds in all shapes and sizes.
Come join us and take advantage of special incentives, zero-interest financing, and as much as $5,000 in savings. This Friday through Sunday, only at Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Now, your Game Center update.
This Game Center update is brought to you by BetUS Sportsbook, a casino celebrating 30 years by offering the industry's biggest 125% sign-up bonus. Get started at BetUS.com. I'm Nick Keyser. The Nashville Predators training camp is underway from Bellevue Ford Ice Center. How did head coach Andrew Brunette develop his system before going into camp?
I've got my own ideas how to play. I have my own identity, and I think Barry felt comfortable with it. A lot of it has part of Barry in me, but I got a lot of part of other guys too. So, and with the staff, they've been great. You're just trying to all collaborate and get a good understanding what I'd like to do and how I'd like to play and what I'd like to bring.
And quarterback Brock Purdy is still undefeated as the San Francisco 49ers starter in the regular season games, going 7-0. Purdy and the 49ers took down the New York Giants last night 30-12. And stay tuned for ESPN NFL Nation Titans reporter Teron Davenport as he will join Robby and Rexrode at 8 a.m. prior to the Titans' Week 3 matchup against the Cleveland Browns. You're listening to 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne.
Ross Chastain will be first to finish in the Ally 500 at Nashville Super Speedway.
Nashville's exclusive home for NASCAR. 102.5 and 106.3.
Checkered flag is in the air. Man, this is a win in the cup race.
The Game.
A Cromwell media station.
Mixing sports and a little bit of fun.
This is fun.
On your morning drive. This is Robby and Rexrode. With Robby Stanley and Joe Rexrode. Presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty. On Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's showtime.
Hour number 2, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Nick Keyser here with you on this Friday morning, and we welcome in our friend Jared Stillman to the program. Jared, good morning. By my count, 6 out of 7 wins for Joe in the Jared versus Joe competition. We had somebody call in earlier and say that you've lost 8 of 9. What's going on here? Are you like the Chicago Bears, just losing games left and right? What's going on?
Yeah, I guess I got to blame the coaching on that. I got to tell you guys, looking at the YouTube stream, the facial hair thing today is throwing me off. No facial hair for young Robert, and Joe's got that Mike Vrabel mustache. I mean, what am I looking at here today?
I went with a little trim. It immediately upset the wife. It's really like the camera doesn't do a great justice of it. There's still some there, but
did it upset the baby too? I mean, goodness gracious,
the baby did immediately cry.
She doesn't know who you are.
Yeah, it was immediate.
I don't know who you are. That bald face of yours.
Immediate regret on my part, on the baby's part, and on the wife's part. But Joe does have the Vrabel stash going on. I enjoy it.
Well, I mean, it's like, we have a certain level of facial hair we have to hit on this show, so I had to compensate.
Thank you.
It sounds like George Steinbrenner, bought the station, and all of a sudden, only the mustache is allowed, the old Yankee way.
Johnny Damon is just completely gone. It's just done at that point. Jared, the Deshaun Watson part of this is really intriguing to me heading into the game. He's been bad, I think, as starting quarterback for the Browns. His numbers are not good. He's around a 57% completion percentage during his time as Cleveland's starting quarterback. When you watch him play, what do you see, and do you think he ever returns to being the Deshaun Watson that we saw those last couple of years in Houston?
I mean, if on a scale of 1 to 10, if Patrick Mahomes is a 10, right now Deshaun Watson is like a 0.7. I mean, he just looks awful. And so when you ask me whether or not I think he's ever going to be back, I mean, I can't imagine he's going to be this bad because we've been watching Deshaun Watson play football for a decade, and he's never been this bad. But, between the not playing football and, the sexual assault allegations and criminal proceedings and civil proceedings and everything else, I mean, something doesn't look right. So I'm not going to sit here and blame the Browns offense. I mean, I think I saw a headline the other day that was like, can Deshaun Watson at least beat Baker Mayfield? Yeah. And I laughed out loud. So, just put it to you like this. If Deshaun Watson's never going to get his comeuppance for him, at least the Browns, it feels like, are getting their comeuppance for that contract they gave him without having a soul.
Yeah, it looks that way, but I will say, There's so much good football, as you just said, Jared, that we've seen from him. What did he play last year? He came in and played 4 games. Is that right?
I think it was 6.
I think so.
After,
4
did he
or 5,
play 6?
whatever.
Yeah. And, it's 2 games with so many quarterbacks right now. I mean, look, Tannehill was horrific in week 1. Joe Burrow has looked bad so far. Just saying, I still have a hard time buying that this is what he is now. And I don't necessarily think this is the week that we find that out, but maybe it is. I mean, that's one thing. I mean, Deshaun Watson has an incredible knack. I mean, we've seen it so many times for making a huge play out of nothing. And that's, I think, the thing this week, right, is that a couple of those could tilt the game. I don't know. I have a hard time buying that he's this. Now, I also have a hard time believing that at the end of it, people are going to say, yep, that $230 million was all worth it. But I don't know. Maybe I'm just buying too much into what it was. But let me ask you this, Jared. Do you feel like what we did see at his best, do you tie that at all to the guy who's now running the Titans offense?
No. I don't. I tie that more to the guy who's playing wide receiver for the Titans than I do for the guy who's running the Titans offense. I mean, Watson at his very best under Tim Kelly played 12 games, because the first 4 Bill O'Brien was the coordinator and the play caller, and then Bill O'Brien got fired. And then that year they lit up the scoreboard, but they lit up the scoreboard because... Well,
actually, hold on. I want to correct you on that. I've heard you say that before, and you can go back and even read the news stories. Going into that season, Bill O'Brien turned over play calling to Tim Kelly. He called plays the entire season, and that's what Tim Kelly just told me a couple weeks ago, too. So he was, yes, fired, but the play calling switched from 19 to 20 to all Kelly.
I still think that DeAndre Hopkins had more of a part, and I know he wasn't on the 2020 Texans, but of the, all of the good football that we've seen from Deshaun Watson, I still think that DeAndre Hopkins had more of a role in that. I mean, Watson was good with that Texan team in 2020. The problem was that they were so bad that they were throwing the ball deep down the field every single game. I mean, they did stick it to the Titans. The Titans had one of the worst defenses I've ever seen. And I'm not sure outside of those 2 Titan games, which went right down to the wire with that horrible Texans team, I'm not sure I watched a single 2020 Texans game. But I just don't think that Tim Kelly really has that much to do with it. Deshaun was good before that, and I would say Deshaun was good after that, but he wasn't, because he didn't play football, and now he's been terrible. So you might be onto something. I am starting to, independent of Deshaun, I am starting to like Tim Kelly, because I felt like Tim Kelly, took accountability
well, that's good.
For his mistakes in the Saints game, which you don't want to think existed, and did a 180 from those mistakes. Like, it really felt like the game plan versus the Chargers, he really learned his lesson from the mistakes in the Saints game, which I was thankful for. Tim Kelly, I'm starting to like, but no, Tim Kelly didn't have anything to do with the Deshaun Watson that took it to Nick Saban twice in the national championship game. I'm not sure he really had anything to do with the Deshaun Watson early, that was winning the division with the Texans. So, no, I don't think that Tim Kelly had a lot to do with that. And I don't think that Kevin Stefanski is the problem with Deshaun Watson now.
Jared, how do you view the Titans secondary? Fulton and Hooker this week, they look like they're going to be on track to play. The Titans, they've given up over 300 yards passing in each of the first 2 weeks, 1 to Derek Carr, 1 to Justin Herbert. Last year, they ranked dead last in the NFL on pass defense. We've talked about that stat and maybe how flawed that actual stat can be. But how do you view the Titans secondary and how good they are?
So I don't think the Titans secondary is bad. I know they were 32nd in the league last year, and they fired the coach and all of that. But I think that when the Titans' run defense is as staunch as it is, and the Titans are going up against all these backup running backs, and the Titans are going up against these $40, $50 million quarterbacks, the expectation for those $40, $50 million quarterbacks is that they're going to throw the ball. Vrabel's always been kind of that bend, don't break defense. And the Titans have been decent enough in the red zone outside of that touchdown pass to Rashid Shaheed in the first game that was borderline unacceptable. So I really just don't think that it's as bad maybe as advertised. They have no depth, and I thought that was pretty obvious in the Charger game when on that field goal drive, Justin Herbert threw the ball at Trey Avery 4 straight times. So if one guy in the secondary gets hurt and Trey Avery has to go in the game, they're going to throw the ball right at Trey Avery every time, or at least they should if they're smart. And the Chargers aren't even smart, and they did it. So that makes me nervous. But I really just don't think that the secondary is that bad. I just also don't think that Sauce Gardner's out there or that they're that good, and that it's really the job of the pass rushers who make all the money to stop the opposing team's passing game and the opposing team's running game.
So are we looking at 13-9 here, Jared? Is this going to be an offensive football abomination?
I hope so. I mean, I think that gives the Titans the best chance to win. I mean, I'm busting out. I've gone into the closet and gotten the old Jacksonville Blake Bortles playbooks out. I've dusted it off. And hey, I tell you what, run, punt. That's what I want this week. Run, punt. Because your offensive line cannot hold up against their defensive line. You're not going to run the ball on them. You're not going to stand in the shotgun and try to pass against them. It's not going to happen. I just watched the beginning of the game. I woke up at like 6, and I just, kind of flipped on the Bengals game against the Browns, the first one, and Joe Burrow standing back there in the shotgun. They may stick Myles Garrett around Dylan Radins and just say, go. And, I mean, if Tannehill's going to, there's no way for these receivers to get open. There's nothing. It's nothing. So run, punt. And then I am banking that Deshaun still stinks. And so make Deshaun beat you, because I don't think Jerome Ford's going to beat you with your run defense. So make Deshaun beat you. And if Deshaun beats you, then karma, you must have really done something bad if karma is on Deshaun Watson's side. But I just, the Deshaun Watson that I'm looking at right now, he lost them the game on Monday night against the Steelers, right? Like, we can all agree on that. Let him lose this game for them too.
Well, Jared, speaking of punting, you got a field goal kicker that's perfect right now. You got a punter that just averaged 61 yards kick the other day.
Whoa. I don't care how far you can punt the ball. And I think Joe is in agreement with me on this, because we've already talked about this off the air this week.
I'm just saying, Craig Ackerman looking pretty good out there so far.
Stonehouse.
Comeback coach of the year.
It's driving me. Well, let me say this. Kyrus Jackson's punt return against the Saints is not getting enough love.
Coaching them up.
That I thought was a pretty important play. Folks making his field goals. But the punting's driving me crazy. I have never, ever, ever cared in my life about raw punting stats. Ever. And the Titans have had great punters in my lifetime, between Craig Hentrick and Brett Kern. And, they've had great punters, right? And so I've never cared about the raw distance that a guy can punt it, just like I don't care how far a quarterback can throw it. And so Joe asked Vrabel a question earlier this week, and Vrabel got all worked up about it, about the punting. And it's like, it's great that you can punt the ball 65 yards, but when they return it 22 and they're starting at the Tennessee or at their own 42, it's like, what good does that do you? And the field position game against the Chargers was not pretty. And when everybody brags to me about this punter and how far he can punt it, Shane Leckler could punt the crap out of the ball. Ray Guy could punt the crap out of the ball. But guess what? They flip the field. And the other thing Stonehouse never does, and it drives me crazy. When's the last time he's punted the ball inside the 5-yard line? With Kern, it was like where the Titans went for it on 4th down to begin the game the other day at their own 44. It's like that was perfect Kern range, because you knew Kern was going to lay the ball inside the 8-yard line. With Stonehouse, I don't know the last time that they've pinned somebody deep. So don't get me started on punting. And Joe, I think you're on my side on this one.
It's very uncomfortable to be aligned with you on this, but I have to admit it. But
you just Craig Ackerman too.
But you just glossed over like, Nick Folk making his kicks. I hope that you've learned a lesson, Jared. I hope you've learned a lesson about your little kicker film study you're relying on. Oh, yeah, he's wicked. Oh, he's terrible, Jared. Oh, he's wicked bad.
That wasn't what they said. What they said was...
You know what I'm talking about.
They said that he was nails from 45 and in. He kicked from 33 and 41 on Sunday. I texted you before they threw the ball to Hopkins on the sideline.
And what else has he made this year?
He made the 50-yarder against the Saints, which was good. But
with lot of room to spare.
I texted you before the throw to DeAndre, and I said, it feels like it's going to come down to a 56-yarder from Folk for the win. I'm like, now we're going to learn. And then Tim Kelly drew up an excellent play call, and Tannehill and Hopkins executed it perfectly, which was just wonderful. So and it eased my anxiety a lot. But no, I mean, hey, you know what? I don't give a rat's ass. If everybody wants to sit there and say at the end of the year, Nick Folk was 92 of 92 kicking field goals, and Jeff Fisher Ball has returned, and it's all about kicking the field goals, and the Titans win because they've got this great field goal kicker who's like Gary Anderson. He can make it from inside of 50. I will take the L for the excitement of the Titans actually making field goals, which I am thankful for right now, and I don't want to take for granted because it has been far too long that we have not been able to expect the Titans to even make the easy field goals. So I am very, very excited so far with what I've seen. But, I mean, Randy Bullock can hit from 41 yards. That's not, again, we're talking about trying to hit from 51 yards and 54 yards and these kicks. I mean, Missouri's making a 60-yarder to win the game.
That was a great kick. Great kick by that guy.
That guy's got Randy Bullock's physique.
He does. Yeah, he does. He may come down to Nick Folk again on Sunday. We'll see. Jared, great stuff, buddy. Thanks for being with us, and we'll be listening at 2 o'clock.
Joe, you got to shave that mustache, babe.
Well, I don't know, but listen, when I'm working, I'd appreciate you. I'm working. You're like 5 White Claws in. Don't text me.
First of all, I don't really, I know that today's Fireball Hot Take Friday. I don't really drink that much. And so when you're, it's just the raw emotion of the game. Secondly, I've thought about this. I've decided that, because it would be common courtesy not to text people while they're working, while I know that they're busy. So everybody who would ever text me while I'm on the air, I feel entitled to be able to text them while they're working.
I text you all the time while you're on the air. So that qualifies for me, too. It's good stuff.
You know what, though, Robby?
I suppose that's fair.
First of all, I wore the same shirt that you're wearing right now. I wore that yesterday, so I do feel like I'm a fashion trendsetter.
You are.
And secondly, I want you to know how much I do enjoy your drop-ins on my personal text line on a consistent basis.
That's good. I appreciate it. Jared will be listening at 2. I appreciate it.
See you guys.
Jared Stillman, our guest on Robby and Rexrode, every Friday morning at 7 o'clock. We'll continue to look ahead to the Titans and the Browns. Coming up next, this is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
94.9 The Fan is your home for Hit City.
Tonight, your Nashville Sounds continue their 6-game series at First Horizon Park against Jacksonville.
Gloves, grabs, guns, gets them, and the Sounds win again.
Pre-game at 6:20.
Nashville Sounds Baseball on 94.9 The Fan and the Fan app.
Hey, Sounds fans, Jeff Hem here at First Horizon Park with your Nashville Sounds update on 102.5 The Game and 94.9 The Fan. The Sounds are down to just 3 games left here in 2023 as they continue their series tonight against Jacksonville with Game 4. They've taken 2 of the first 3 in the set. Last night was quiet in a 7-0 loss. The Sounds could not get a run. Their highlights came defensively, including Chris Roller in the 5th inning out in left field. Groshen's lines one to deep left field. Roller back near the track, on the track. Chris reaches out, and he bangs into the wall and caught it. Garrett Mitchell added a triple as he played another full game in his Brewers rehab assignment. And 19-year-old Jackson Churio, the young phenom prospect, had 2 more hits. Tonight in Game 4, Eric Lauer goes for the Sounds. The pregame on 94.9 The Fan at 6:20 and the first pitch at 6:35. This is Jeff Hem with your Sounds update on 102.5 The Game and 94.9 The Fan.
Bundling and saving with Geico is an easy choice, so you're free to ponder life's big questions, like what's the best animal in the world if not humans? I'd strongly consider ducks to be somewhere up there on the list. Think about it. Ducks can swim, ducks can fly, and ducks can walk on land. They have access to all terrains. They are the ultimate animal. And they wiggle their butts when they walk, which is funny. Yeah, ducks are awesome. End of story. Bundling and saving with Geico. It's an easy choice.
Isn't that aroma just heavenly?
What's with the whispering?
Inside this grill is the secret to winning game days.
Eckrich smoked sausage, crafted with a perfect medley of spices for a truly rich, savory taste. So easy to prepare, too. Now, hand me one of those buns.
Whoa, keep your voice down.
Marty, you're still whispering? Secret's out, buddy. Eckrich.com has dozens of simple, mouth-watering recipes for everyone to win game days this season.
Want to weigh in on the conversation? It's a brain booster. Slide into our DMs. Or just text or call at 615-737-1025. Our phone line is driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. You're listening listening to Robby and Rexrode.
It's part of this nutritious breakfast.
Presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. We are live from our 102.5 The Game studio, brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. I got some tickets to give away to see Chicago at First Bank Amphitheater coming up on September 25th. Be caller number 5, 615-737-1025. Caller number 5 will win a pair of tickets to see Chicago at First Bank Amphitheater coming up on September 25th. 615-737-1025. Teron Davenport, ESPN NFL Nation Titans reporter, will join us at 8 o'clock. We'll continue to look ahead to the Titans and Browns with him, so looking forward to that. Thanks to Jared Stillman for being with us in the last segment. The punting, we're seeing a lot of attention this week. Vrabel doesn't want to talk about it, but you and Stillman do, and you and Stillman are aligned on the punting. It's a scary place for you to be. Didn't think we'd reach a point this year where you and Stillman are aligned on special teams, but here we are in week 3.
Yeah, I've said this before, though. I mean, I actually agree with more of Jared's takes than I disagree with. It's just that some of the ones you disagree with are the kind that melt your brain.
Like high school recruiting doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's just all about the portal and NIL. High school recruiting. Yeah, how did we not rip him on that?
Well, we didn't get into college, but we should have.
Yeah, I know. I regret. I have regret right now.
In all seriousness, like this very easily, to me, could come down to Nick Folk again on Sunday. Like, Folk was great against New Orleans, made all of his kicks against the Chargers, and this could set up to be another Nick Folk game on Sunday. Like, if it's a low-scoring game like we think it's going to be, it's good to have a reliable field goal kicker. And to this point, Folk has given you no reason to doubt what he's able to do out there. He's been good from deep. He's been good from where you expect him to make the kicks, 30s and 40 yards, 40 to 49 yards. He's been good to this point for the Titans. I think he's been good on the kickoffs too. So he's been every bit as good as you could hope for so far for the Titans. And I think there's a good chance that this game on Sunday and a few games moving forward could come down to Nick Folk and his ability to kick field goals. And the more I think about it, the more I think that was just a great move by the Titans to get him in here.
Yeah, look, we joke about the one-arm push-ups and all this stuff, but I watch him kick off. He said it when he got here, and he's like worked out differently. And because you see the numbers from last year, having not gone through the film, having decided to never go through the film, and you're like, okay, so this guy just doesn't have the leg to get the touchbacks. It's no problem at all for him. So seems like a guy who's very motivated to stay in the league and change some things, and Titans are benefiting. It is 2 games. That's worth mentioning, I suppose, right? I mean, it's just like we're just talking about Deshaun Watson, and like, who knows? I mean, he could have a breakout game and things could start going in a different direction for him. So there's still a little bit of wait and see. Lance is on the text line on the punter argument. Yes, Stonehouse still a good net, 44.6.
Right.
But to Jared's point, none inside the 20. Scott for the Chargers, the net wasn't as good. But also, let's remember, the field position game was in the Chargers' favor. He had shorter fields, and he put that ball to the moon. So, I mean, you have to factor that in, too. My whole thing with the 17-yard gap between gross and net is that means that there are some returns where there's, to me, a real threat of a guy getting up full speed and having a chance to hurt your coverage team. They did have 120-yarder was their best return. I think Stonehouse, great, 61 yards. You crush the ball. It's amazing to watch, but he's got to get better. You do have to put some out of bounds inside the 20, inside the 10.
It sounds like Vrabel's not concerned about the returning part of it, though. Like, I don't know if that was just him playing it off the other day or him just looking at the net and saying, what's the big deal? But, I mean, it sounded to me like he's go cover the kick is normally his answer, and it doesn't sound like Vrabel is overly concerned about the return part of it. That's just my read on it.
Yeah, at least after being asked about it this week. But
whether that's wrong or right, that's my read on it.
Yeah, and then when you do give the big return, then I guess you change a little bit how you feel about it. yeah, they've got to cover well. You have to expect that, of course. You coach it, talk about it a lot. There's a lot of emphasis on special teams from him in particular. So, but in this particular game, I'm trying to find now the average starting field position. I promise you that it was in the Chargers' favor for sure. So let's see. Well, I don't know why I can't seem to navigate a box score anymore. But Stonehouse, again, it's amazing to watch him. He's very much just, to me, like the guy who's crushing it off the tee.
Yep.
Brett Kern's a guy who just plays it in the fairway short, but man, around the green he's astounding. And Stonehouse has got to improve on that.
Well, and in this game, with points being potentially at a premium, like field position is going to be a big part of it. Like you got to find a way to maximize that if you're the Titans. Look, I do think to Jarrett's point, like the Kearis Jackson return was an underrated part of the game on Sunday. Ryan Tannehill talked about that in his post-game press conference. I think Jackson has been pretty good for the most part. Like he's not done anything electrifying, and it's not like he's having huge returns back there, but he's taken care of the football to this point, and that was a big return to set things up to get that drive going on Sunday against LA.
Yeah, for sure. No, he's fine. He's been solid. I personally would go with Kyle Phillips and give him a shot because I think you just have more upside. I mean, I think Kyle Phillips can be a really good punt returner, and he's probably got one more chance of messing up any kind of a catch to where it's like you can't do it anymore, And so it's a lot of pressure. But he kind of created that situation and then got hurt last year. So, but I mean, I think you definitely have more opportunity for big returns with Phillips instead of Jackson, but Jackson's been solid.
Let me ask the same question to you that I did to Jared, the secondary, because I think most fans, most of us kind of talking about the Titans, looking at the season, feel okay about the Titans secondary, particularly when it's healthy. But the numbers are what they are. Like they were dead last in pass defense last year, and so far through 2 games, they've given up over 300 yards passing in both of them. So how do you kind of explain what we're seeing from the Titans secondary right now? And is it concerning to you? Is it just the style of play that you have to play against the Titans if you want to move the ball? How do you view the Titans secondary right now?
I still feel like it can be really good. I think the concern is what we talked about earlier. This week, it looks like their best 5 are going to be out there, which is great. And in a game like this, I like their chances. I like their chances a lot if they have all 5 of those guys. And obviously that's, again, SMB, we haven't talked about him much. He played much better in week 2.
He was.
Especially after watching again. He was really good. And, I think that's more him. That's more what they expect from him. Week 1 was kind of strange, some of the mistakes he made, but they picked on Molden in that game with Olave, and I mean, so there's some matchups that'll get you. But SMB, McCreary, Fulton, Hooker, Byard, I think that's a really good secondary. I really do. The big plays, here or there, they're going to happen. You can't give up 5 like you did in that Saints game. I mean, you still only gave up 16 points, but those were killers, including the play that basically clinched the game. So I just think here and there you just make these bad mistakes, but also I think maybe Fulton shouldn't have been on the field late in that game because he had tweaked the hammy, So the concern I have is just that it's just going to be more of like, okay, so who's the corner in at this spot? Who's the safety in at this spot? Because a couple of these guys just can't stay healthy.
We'll have Teron Davenport coming up at 8 o'clock. We'll continue to look ahead to the Titans and the Browns with him. Coming up next, we'll get into a little college football. Big weekend of college football around the country and opportunities to bounce back for both Vanderbilt and Tennessee. We'll get into that coming up next. Speaking of Vanderbilt, tune in to 102.5, 106.3 The Game tomorrow for Vanderbilt football. The Commodores kicking off at 11 a.m. at home against Kentucky with pregame beginning at 9:30. You can hear all the coverage on the 102.5 The Game app and at thegamenashville.com. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
He breaks down every game.
The players are still going to be fine.
And knows the ins and outs of the two-tone blue.
They deal with their own position coaches.
He is ESPN NFL Nation Titans reporter Teron Davenport.
It's clear what he's doing.
TD joins every Monday at 1, Thursdays at 3, Friday mornings at 8, and anytime on the Talkin' with TD podcast.
I think that's really cool how he could show both sides.
TD is on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
From the beginning, they were applauded. The music that sold over 100 million records. Chicago, this Monday, First Bank Amphitheater. The music of Chicago. This Monday, First Bank Amphitheater. On sale now at LiveNation.com. Chicago, part of the Farm Bureau Insurance Concert Series. Buy tickets at LiveNation.com.
It's Raymond and Austin. We're back on All-Star Sports Radio. Celebrating their 30th year, our sportsbook and casino sponsor, BetUS.com, is going big.
That's right, Austin. Sports bettors can win a new truck, get the industry's biggest 125% sign-up bonus, and even get up to 30 risk-free bets.
Touchdown! BetUS also has a 150% casino sign-up bonus.
Blackjack, now you're talking, Austin. They also have live dealers and live betting on sports, including racetrack.
Get started today at BetUS.com, where the game begins.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Have you Googled yourself lately? Are there negative posts from an ex-employee or from a former client? Maybe an outdated news article or sensitive personal information about your family? Search engines don't always get it right. For right or wrong, it's your reputation on the line. That's where Reputation Defender by Norton comes in. One of the most trusted names in online reputation repair, Reputation Defender has been fixing people's search results for over 15 years. Their cutting-edge approaches help you to wipe away unwanted information in your search results. They also promote the good stuff so that it rises to the top, helping you put your best foot forward. Your good name is too valuable to leave to the whims of a Google algorithm. Take control with Reputation Defender. You can start by getting your free reputation report card at reputationdefender.com or call 800-401-6681 to speak to an expert. That's 800-401-6681.
One is a legendary NFL wide receiver.
I gotta be prepared. I have to be ready.
One is a legendary Nashville voice.
You don't have to rely on carrying the ball 250 to 300 times.
And the other has been a legendary trash talker on the playground since the 4th grade.
Nobody is a Pro Bowler on day 1 of rookie minicamp.
They are Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace. Weekdays at 11 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
This is Greg McElroy, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Join Jared Stillman, Chris Sanders, and Derek Mason at Twin Peaks and Cool Springs this Sunday from 9:30 to 11:30 for our award-winning NFL pregame show. They'll break down the Titans' Week 3 road matchup against the Browns and give you the latest updates before the game. Our NFL pregame show presented by Parma Tractor and Equipment and the Beast Unleashed. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode. Robbie Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Nick Keyser here with you on this Friday morning. Joe, some bounce-back opportunities for Vanderbilt and Tennessee this weekend. Vanderbilt kicking off SEC play against Kentucky. They are basically 2-touchdown underdogs at home in this game. Tennessee hosting UTSA. They're about a 3-touchdown favorite at Neyland Stadium. Let's start on the Vanderbilt front. Opening up SEC play, 2-2 in non-conference play. Obviously a tough loss last week really a heartbreaking loss for Vanderbilt against UNLV. That drops them to 2-2. And just for me, Joe, it's tough to see a path to the postseason now for Vanderbilt, given the way that their non-conference schedule has gone. That would require them to win 4 SEC games, and I'm just not sure I see that on their schedule. But they did beat Kentucky last year, and this is a Kentucky team that, to me, has been okay, but hasn't looked overly impressive so far this season. So we're going to find out a little bit more about them tomorrow. What do you make of this matchup? And I guess as you look at Vanderbilt coming back home off the non-conference schedule that they've had, what does Vanderbilt have to do to win this game against Kentucky in your mind?
Well, I mean, look, I think what they have to do is they have to do what they do well at an incredibly high level. So A.J. Swan needs to go off. Will Shepherd, Jaden McGowan. You got London Humphreys, the freshman, who is an electric player. There's a guy who, I mean, I hate to think this way, but this is what college sports has become, especially, for programs that get attacked by, more successful programs looking for players. Keep an eye on that kid. And I'm just saying, because other teams are going to be coming after him. That's what happens. You're Vanderbilt, you got good players. Ray Davis goes and plays well against Kentucky to win, last year. Ray Davis is on Kentucky this year. He's coming for revenge for the game he helped win last year,
One-arm push-ups.
Yeah. He's going to pretend he was on Kentucky last year and get mad about it. But what Vanderbilt can do is they can throw it around the yard. And I think their offensive line has probably been the most disappointing aspect of the team to me. But protect, throw, and don't turn it over. And A.J. Swan makes big plays and has great numbers, except he makes, he's right now he's giving the ball to the other team too much. So if he has one of those magical days and doesn't turn it over, then I think that they can score points. I just, the defense is not good and hasn't been good, and I think overall has also been disappointing. I didn't expect it to be great this year, but it's disappointing, and they're just beat up already. I mean, they're beat up before getting to the SEC teams that really beat you up, and that's really concerning. They've been developing depth. They've been recruiting some nice players. They got some young players who are coming on. Height with the big pick 6 last week. They got some guys like that, but you look at all the guys, key guys on the defensive side of the ball who are dealing with stuff, and that just doesn't bode well.
On the Tennessee front, obviously an incredibly disappointing loss last week against Florida. You got UTSA at home, and then conference play really kicks up starting next week with the schedule coming of A&M and South Carolina and Alabama and Kentucky and all those games right in a row for the Vols. Tomorrow, a UTSA team that has some injury problems, especially at quarterback. We'll see if their quarterback's able to go in this game, but they're about a 3-touchdown favorite against the Roadrunners. What are you looking for out of Tennessee tomorrow? And, obviously this is a game that they should win, but what are you looking for, I guess, especially offensively, to get done against UTSA that you think matters as they transition into SEC play after that?
It's all about the passing game. I mean, it's all and it's about tackling.
That would be
doing
a good start.
Basic things. Yeah, tackling would be a good start. Looking like you have any idea what you're doing on defense again. But I don't really worry about that too much with Tennessee at home. I think that's the thing, is like, it's the next time they hit the road, which, by the way, is Tuscaloosa. And by the way, an offense that right now is not all that good. But in the meantime, build some good habits at home and, get back to playing, which I still feel like I saw some really good things from this defense, opponent aside, in the first 2 weeks, and then just completely the wheels falling off. But I'm still going back to, it's the passing offense. That's how this team is going to have any chance against good teams on this schedule from here, is that it gets back to some level of efficiency and ability to use the whole field and ability to use Joe Milton's skill set. And he's worked on the deep ball, and he threw 3 fantastic deep shots against Florida, but you should also be able to, use his skill set to do other things and push the ball down the field. It doesn't have to be, a go route. I mean, and I understand they have they understand what their offense is, the choice routes and all that stuff, but you got to be able to use the middle of the field, use the tight end some, and you got to protect him. I mean, if you can't protect against UTSA, you really start to wonder about that group too. So the offensive line figuring things out. Is Cooper Mays back? There's just so many things they have to work out. It's not like UTSA is the ideal opponent to kind of work on things, but if they win convincingly and show some progress, that's a nice step heading into South Carolina.
What if they don't? What if it's a
yeah? Well,
I'm not even talking about losing. What if it's like the Austin Peay game where they end up winning the game and maybe the margin is somewhat comfortable, but it looks rough the whole time? What does that mean for this team, do you think?
Well, look, at this point, that's kind of what I expect. I mean, it would be, I think, alarming. I think it means to me, the guy who said, "Oh, they're going to blow out Florida after week 1." Like, there's no way they're not blowing out Florida. But it would look to me like you should be real concerned about South Carolina and Texas A&M coming in. I still feel like, again, the defense plays way better at home. So, I like the Vols' chances in all their home games this year to end up winning still, other than Georgia. But if you don't take some strides with that passing game, then when are you going to take strides with the passing game? Because at some point, like South Carolina, I watched that entire South Carolina-Georgia game last week. They're getting better, and they, it's like Spencer Rattler, as any Tennessee fan should be able to attest to. I mean, he can play. Like, he's going to score some points, I think, in that game in Knoxville. And it's like right now, Tennessee scoring 16 the other night. It's just so different from what we got accustomed to the past 2 years.
Joe, it's a great week in college football. Florida State, Clemson in the ACC, Colorado, Oregon tomorrow in the Pac-12, Ole Miss, Alabama in the SEC. I'm looking forward to that one. That one's probably the most intriguing one to me, just to see what Alabama looks like, and can Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin go on the road and win that game. But you got Iowa, Penn State tomorrow, Ohio State, Notre Dame, North Carolina, Pittsburgh. There's some great games tomorrow in college football. What game intrigues you the most tomorrow as you look at the schedule?
Well, that's a tough question. I probably Ohio State, Notre Dame, just because. By the way, that was a call I got last week, and Pigskin Pick'em. Ohio State just blew up on WKU. Sorry, Nick, but I figured one of those games was coming where all of a sudden it's just like, okay, just let it rip. And as always, Ohio State has the players overall to win a national championship. What is their quarterback? What is their quarterback against a really good team? It didn't look great against a decent Big Ten defense in Indiana. What about Notre Dame? Because that's the thing. Notre Dame has the big edge at quarterback, right? I mean, there's no doubt. So is McCord going to rise up to that? If he is, and I think Ohio State has a great chance. But I mean, this is, to me, almost like a playoff elimination game.
Austin on the text line says, what I'm looking for tomorrow from Tennessee, they need to be up 30 points in the first half so I can see Nico. This is from Austin on the text line. A lot of Tennessee fans want to see Nico get in there tomorrow.
Well, that's the right way to want to see Nico. So I approve of that desire to see Nico. You want the starting quarterback to do so well that the freshman gets in and gets some work. That's what Tennessee would love to.
Big game for Dabo tomorrow. Clemson unranked. They're at home. Florida State, I believe Florida State's a 2-point favorite in this game. Obviously, Florida State, a big win against LSU to start things off. Florida State just about screwed it up last week against Boston College. They were up big in that game. I think it was 31-10 at one point, and they held on for dear life to win, I think, 31-29. So it was almost a complete and total collapse from the Seminoles last week. But that's a very intriguing game. Like, Clemson looked so bad that first week against Duke. Can they compete against Florida State? Do they have a chance to win this game with the talent that I still believe they have on that roster? Pretty intriguing one tomorrow. That's 11 a.m. start for Florida State and Clemson tomorrow.
I kind of feel like Florida State's going to blow their doors off.
They might.
I mean, I could be wrong, but, man, I do not like the look of Clemson right now. They just offensively just look so stagnant. But, yeah, I mean, that's a headlining game. That would have been the best game easily of the slate last week, and it's like number 11 this week.
It's a great weekend in college football. It's been kind of a slow build to this point. Not many great matchups so far. Got a ton of them tomorrow, so looking forward to a big day of college football. Coming up next, it's time for the Rex Rant with Joe Rexrode. You can check it out every morning at 7:45. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
We are Nashville's best sports talk, live and local from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. When you want the national
Hey. I got this. I'll take it from here.
Okay, go ahead. Dying to hear this.
We have the best national voices that you'll find anywhere.
Who was more deserving of being thrown from their game?
I'm odd, so I get the odd picks.
They have a new coaching staff.
It's not a bad scenario for them.
We are 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
And 94.9 The Fan.
Hey, it's Jared from my friends at Hiller. It's about to start getting cooler, and it's time to start thinking about your heating system. You do not want to experience breakdowns when that first temperature drop happens, so it's time to get your heating tune-up taken care of. Luckily, happy half-off month at Hiller. Tune-ups are 50% off. This month, Hiller is making it easier than ever to tackle necessary home replacements by giving you 50% off select add-on items. Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical, proud supporters of the Preds, the Vols, and Vandy. Hiller, call the Happy Face truck today.
If you're hiring, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack, like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who've used ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. hims.com/joy.
You're listening to Robby and Rexrode, presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. Sometimes he wakes up on the wrong side of the bed. And sometimes he's just, well, Joe.
Awkward moment, let's do it.
This is the Rex Rant, now on Robby and Rexrode.
Glorious. I'm victorious. It's so stupid. It's a terrible song.
Well, it is that time of the day. Time for the Rex Rant with Joe Rexrode. You can check it out every morning at 7:45. No rant yesterday, Joe. We were joined by Roger McCrary, and he graced us with his beautiful singing voice, so I will make an exception for that every time. But good to have the rant back this morning.
Yeah, it was a very musical rant, I guess. Rant time spot. That's one we'll keep. I was gonna try to do some Wu-Tang for my wife. She's grateful that I didn't even like tell her my stupid little thing I did yesterday. Like, I don't even want her to know. Like, I don't want anybody to know, actually. But today, I feel like we've hit this from just about every angle. And honestly, I do wonder, like, have I done this before? I don't think so.
Okay.
But this is my question to you. Are we getting a huge influx of Ohioans moving to Nashville, as far as you know?
Yes.
We are?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
I believe I read somewhere, and I may have a couple of the states wrong, but I think the most popular states that are moving here in some order are California, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Ohio. I believe that is what I read.
Okay. So this is unscientific, but I swear this is true. Someone who lived in the Midwest, lived in Michigan for a lot of my life. As soon as you cross the border into Ohio, it's like they think they're in freaking England or something, and the left lane is the slow lane. It's the damnedest thing. They don't know how to drive in Ohio. And I mean, I guess this is well timed with the Titans playing the Browns. Going to be driving in the beautiful state of Ohio just in a couple days. Yesterday, actually going to, anniversary dinner. It was, I think 4 different cars that I had to pass on the right because they were going like 62 in the left lane with a speed limit of 70. And I will tell you that because it was kind of dark, I didn't catch the license plates. I guarantee you 3 of them were Ohio license plates. I wish that I would have I should have tried to take phone pictures as I was driving. All that probably would have caused an accident, which is another thing Ohio drivers do a lot. I feel like, again, it's not scientific, but I feel like they get in more accidents because they don't know how to drive. So I just would ask all of you folks who have moved here from Ohio, who somehow, when you went to driver's ed as a kid, I don't know, did the books get published weird or something? Did some kind of mishap happen, where you weren't taught that the left lane is the fast lane? I would just, whatever happened, look, you can be forgiven, clean slate, move forward. In our country, when you're on the highway, the left lane is where you pass people. So you go faster in that lane. If you want to go really slow, go all the way to the right lane, and obviously different numbers of lanes on different highways.
Yeah.
But if you're in the left and you're going really slow, you are actually causing an issue and potentially causing real problems for people beyond just annoyance. So please heed my call, Ohioans who are moving here en masse, and learn how to drive. Thank you.
Don't do dumb that hurt the team.
Well, it's interesting you bring this up because,
I'd like to hear Vrabel's take on this, by the way.
I would too, who is, can Vrabel drive? He's from Ohio. How good of a driver is Vrabel? We'll have to figure that out at some point. Obviously I don't have as much experience with the state of Ohio as you do and have not been there as many times as you have. Now, it's funny you bring this up because I'm sitting on the interstate the other day, and I've talked about this before in terms of this being my least favorite thing on the roadways that take place, but it's a 2-lane road on the interstate up 65, and there's tractor trailers behind each other, and one of them decides that the one in front of them in the right lane is going too slow, so they got to get over to the left and attempt to pass. And, of course, their attempt to pass said tractor trailer takes about 12 miles from them to actually accomplish the task. And I was behind this when this was happening the other day, and as soon as you started talking, it brought up the license plate because I remember yelling about it. The tractor trailer's from Ohio, trying to get around this guy in the left lane. And here it was, just neck and neck for about 5 miles. Nobody could pass anybody. Finally, this tractor trailer from Ohio ended up passing somebody going up the hill about 5 miles later. But it's my least favorite thing on the earth. It takes forever for them to pass each other.
Yeah. Well, and that one we have had, and it's an oldie but a goodie, But even in those situations, at least you're there to pass someone. Incredibly annoying. It's it's awful. But even if you're just barely going faster than the person, that to me is still better than look at all the people flying by me on my right, but I'll just stay over here. We're good.
Just moseying along. Josh from Murfreesboro on the text line says, Ohio is the worst state in the union, and it's not close. And in parentheses says, I'm a Hoosier. Dustin in Hopkinsville on the text line says, as a previous CSX railroader, I went to railroad school with a bunch of Northerners, some Wisconsin, Michigan, Indiana, but the Ohio boys, loud, rude, wild, in the bars every night, like Jersey Shore all over again. This from Dustin from Hopkinsville. This has turned into Ohio slander on the text line.
I'm not here for that. I'm not, I'm purely talking about driving. I think Ohio people are just fine. I got people in my family from Ohio and friends from Ohio. And
Cincinnati's a fine town.
Fine people. I love Cincy. I love Columbus. Cleveland's all right. Cedar Point is the greatest amusement park on the earth. So no. Look, I like Ohioans. They're nice people. They just don't know how to drive. I don't, I mean, that's my only real beef with it. This gets into another rant that I know I've had. It's like the whole, like, Ohio State fans are blah, blah, blah. It's like, look, I'm sure, you encountered some Ohio State fans who were total jerks, but like in the stadium of 110,000 people, you might sit next to some people who are like the nicest people in the world too, right? Like,
sure.
Any sort of, like, again, Vols fans, if you want to represent Vols fans with some of the message board geniuses entries, and boy, they've been dominating that thing lately. Then great. Then you can say Vols fans are idiots, but as we all know, there are hundreds of thousands who aren't, right?
Yes.
So we don't need to take this outside the scope.
A lot of slander of Ohio on the text line continuing to pour in. A lot of it.
Yeah, I love Ohio. And I wish they knew how to drive there. And I think they're fine people who can't drive. And so we just need to work on that. If you're all going to move here, then we need to work on it.
Full disclosure, I used to have like this same opinion. I used to do it by counties in Tennessee. So like I grew up in Sumner County, and I used to think that like everybody from Robertson County had no clue how to drive because it's the county next to Sumner County, and they would end up over there. And like, what are you doing here? You're supposed to stay in your own county. Why are you doing this? And now I live in Robertson County, and it turns out the people in Sumner County can't drive. So it's kind of alternating back and forth. I pay way too much attention to where people are from when they're driving poorly in front of me. I think the fact of the matter is there are just bad drivers everywhere.
But I want you to watch now. Now that we've talked about this, I want you to watch how many of these people will have Ohio plates who are really bad. Eric says, what are your thoughts on Cincinnati chili? Eric, I would bathe in this stuff. I love it so much. I mean, it would, like, I've said before, like if I lived in New Orleans for a year, it'd probably be a real problem for my health, because like the food's so good. But if I actually I could eat Skyline every day. I really could, which would be terrible for me, but I love it that much.
So you're going into the belly of the beast on Sunday when you talk about driving in Ohio. Like you're deep in there on Sunday. I mean, this is a weekend of driving through Ohio for you.
Well, yeah,
some caution needs to be taken here.
Yeah, so this weekend is the Benny Wong tailgate for anybody who remembers, my friend who passed away of cancer last year. So that's East Lansing. So it's going to be East Lansing to Cleveland, which is a lot of miles in Ohio. So I guess maybe it's good that I had this experience last night because I need to jar myself into being ready for these idiots.
Have to make sure that the head is on the swivel, as Terry Crisp would say. Lots of awareness going to be needed for Rexrode this weekend. This has been the Rex Rant with Joe Rexrode. You can check it out every morning at 7:45 here on the program as the state of Ohio slander continues to pour in on the text line driven by Wilson.
Stop ripping Skyline on the text line. I'm going to get mad.
Coming up next, we'll be joined by Teron Davenport, ESPN NFL Nation Titans reporter. We'll look ahead to the Titans and the Browns matchup with him. Looking forward to that. Make your silly underdog picks today for your chance to win weekly prizes. You can play at theGameNational.com or the 102.5 The Game app as we approach Week 4 of college football and Week 3 of the NFL. Silly underdog picks presented by Volunteer Hose and Gasket. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Every day we are live and local.
You need to give Ron Tannehill a 2-year extension.
There haven't been too many coaching changes for the Predators.
And your source for Nashville sports.
I think that's what the Titans need.
Players who can score.
We are Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Oh, Charlie's, that's where you'll find me. That southern flavor got me saying, hey, y'all. And ooh, that gooey caramel pie tastes like summertime at Old Charlie's.
The sweet, sweet sounds of this song are in honor of the sweet, sweet news that free Pie Wednesdays are back at O'Charlie's. O'Charlie's. Oh, that's good.
Yum, yum, have some fun. O'Charlie's. Born in Nashville and it shows.
The Nashville Oktoberfest is quickly approaching, and now's the time to get your dirndls, lederhosen, and party steins ready. From local breweries to live music and festival artisans, you can't go wrong celebrating this free family fun Germantown tradition. The Nashville Oktoberfest 2023, Thursday, October 5th through the 8th at Bicentennial Mall in Germantown. Prepare yourself for 4 days of brats, beer, live music, and competitions. VIP experience reservations are still available at thenashvilleoktoberfest.com. Prost, y'all!
Hey home buyers, TJ Anderson here. Are you looking for a luxury home on over an acre, 7 bedrooms, 9 bathrooms, and close to 7,000 square feet? 6551 Brownlee Drive in Nashville's Westmead neighborhood offers that and a 4th car garage, all by an award-winning builder. Text the number 1 to 615-420-2377 for pricing and info. Want your home listing to be seen and heard by home buyers? Google TJ Anderson Homes and see why we are referred by clients so often. TJ Anderson Homes at Benchmark Realty, office number 615-432-2919.
Back in 1949, Dr. Houston began the tradition of treating athletes for common sports injuries. Today, the sports medicine physicians at Houston Clinic Orthopedics continue his legacy. Whether you play at school, in a league, on a professional team, or just enjoy being active, Houston Clinic Orthopedics physicians are there to help you stay in the game. Common sports injuries include tears, strains, sprains, and instabilities of the knee, shoulder, and ankle. Houston Clinic Orthopedics is located where you work and live. Visit tn.houston.com to book your appointment online. When experience matters, trust Houston Clinic Orthopedics.
Your Game Center Update.
This Game Center Update is brought to you by BetUS Sportsbook, a casino celebrating 30 years by offering the industry's biggest 125% sign-up bonus. Get started at BetUS.com. I'm Nick Keiser. The Tennessee Titans hit the road to take on the Cleveland Browns this Sunday. What kind of challenges does Derrick Henry say that he'll face?
Get to the ball real fast. Obviously, they're just disruptors with their pass rushers. With Myles Garrett, him playing basketball and getting to the quarterback, but good linebackers, got good cover guys. I think they're all around solid defense, and those are gonna be a tough task coming Sunday.
And stay tuned for some college football action right here on 102.5 The Game on Saturday at 9:30 a.m. as the Vanderbilt Commodores will take on the Kentucky Wildcats. And down in Atlanta, the Braves have won 24 straight games when their starting pitcher goes at least 6 innings. That breaks the single-season streak with the 1935 Cubs and the 1931 Athletics. You're listening to 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne. Broadcasting on Alexa.
I appreciate that.
And other smart speakers. 102.5 and 106.3.
And a score!
You can run different offenses.
The doors on the board. Off the field, on the field.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Mixing sports and a little bit of fun.
This is fun!
On your morning drive. This is Robby and Rexrode. With Robby Stanley and Joe Rexrode. Presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty. On Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app. ESPN's Turon Davenport. Talking Titans. Now. On Robby and Rexrode. On ESPN. 102.5 The Game. And the Game Nashville app.
It is that time of the week. Time to go to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and talk a little football with Turon Davenport, ESPN NFL Nation Titans reporter, host of Talking with TD. TD, good morning. How we doing?
Hey, good morning. I tell you what, in that time of the Rexrode rant, I passed 2 people on the left. It's crazy. I had to swear, go to the right and then pass them because they were doing 60 and a 70 on the left lane. Well,
were they from Ohio?
About that.
Were they?
You know what?
Plates?
It was Tennessee license plate.
Disappointing.
So,
but they could have been. They could have moved here and switched. They could have moved.
We're
going to
assume they moved from Ohio, according to Rexrode. That's right. Well, TD, obviously a huge game coming up on Sunday for the Titans. The Myles Garrett part of this. I mean, there are very few humans on the earth walking around that are as athletically gifted as Myles Garrett is. We know what he can do. We know the pass rusher that he is. If you're the Titans, how do you go about trying to make sure, TD, given the state of their offensive line, that Myles Garrett doesn't just absolutely wreck the game on Sunday like we know he's capable of doing?
Yeah, well, the thing is, they move him around, right? You saw his 1 sack. He was basically like in a middle linebacker position when he crossed over, and then he came and he blitzed into the backfield. I think the main thing is when he's on a side, they're going to have to use Trevon Wesco to chip and help out. I would hate to be a back this week because they might be asked to, chip on him as well, and that's not something I would want to do. I'll tell you that for sure.
TD, I'd rather just sit here and just relive the Wu-Tang Nas De La concert with you, but I guess we should stick with the football. That's But that was your quick review.
Rexrode's dancing skills would be appreciated too.
Oh no, he was straight. I think the live band was interesting. I like the other, like the regular, just letting it play over the speakers without the live band. But I thought the catalog could have been dug into a little more, and the set list was backwards, right? Because they had De La Soul go last, and that was just confusing to me. But man, anytime you get to see the Wu, that was my first time seeing Nas too, so I enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, me too. It was awesome. Well, you mentioned those backs, TD. What do you think about just the usage? Obviously, we've seen the creativity with Derrick Henry and Tyjae Spears together, but Tim Kelly did talk yesterday about the idea that, look, certain matchups, just certain days, you got somebody going and someone's hot, you go. I mean, I think that makes sense, as great as Derrick Henry is, but what do you think about those comments and just how these backs will continue to be deployed moving forward?
Yeah, well, it's a clear shift from before where it was just like, hey, Derrick Henry, 30 to 40 carries. That's happening pretty much regardless, unless the game gets away from it. And that's something that you used to see. But I think, the way that they're doing it now is good. You want to have a little more balance throughout the offense. I think that's a good thing. But then also when you look at Henry and you even look at the play action, right, those are two things that will also help against Myles Garrett, right? Because you could play fake and then boot Tannehill away from Garrett, and then you also just at times running at Myles Garrett, it gives the offensive line a chance to fire off and get to him. And I think, Derrick Henry and that rushing attack is a good thing, and they do want to make sure that they do that regardless of how good the Browns are as far as being tied with the Titans, third against the run in the league. I just think, it's getting to a point now where, they're seeing, hey, Tyjae Spears, 6.9 per carry. Things are happening when he touches the ball, so they want to make sure that they get him his touches. And like Tim Kelly said, having two guys you want to make sure get opportunities is a good problem to have.
TD, speaking of running backs, I mean, this conversation came up the other day from a piece that Koharski wrote at his website, but the idea of Derrick Henry and the Hall of Fame. What do you think Derrick Henry's case for the Hall of Fame is right now, and how much work do you think he still has left to do in that regard as you view the whole picture of his career?
Yeah, I was thinking about that before the season starts. I eventually am going to do something about that, actually, and I think he has a good chance, but, the problem is 10,000 yards isn't really looked at the same as it used to be, and, he's on the verge of getting ready to do that probably over the next couple seasons. It's just so unfortunate that injury happened in 2021 because I firmly believe that he would have been very close to, if not past, 2,000 yards. And to do that in back-to-back seasons, be the rushing champion in back-to-back seasons, like all of that is, that would have been a big-time thing for him to have done. And that would have cemented his Hall of Fame career, in my opinion. But, the guy that I would look at is Sean Alexander. I think, it's interesting that he hasn't gone in, and there's not really even a conversation for him. And another one to keep in mind is Jamal Lewis, if he had 2K, and he has a Super Bowl ring, and he didn't get in. So it's after Derrick Henry, though, I don't know if there'll be another back that is in position to, get into the Hall of Fame the way the game is going.
Yeah, or at least like the traditional way, right? Like a guy like McCaffrey might get there, but will he have like 10,000 yards, right? It's like the position's so different now. But yeah, Jamal Lewis is a great example. We were talking about him the other day, a guy who checks a lot of boxes, doesn't have much momentum. TD on the Titans defensive side in this game. First of all, just what do you think of Deshaun Watson? What we've seen of him so far in this offense, and how much opportunity do you think the Titans are going to have here to get after him in this game?
Yeah, I think he's a guy that's just pressing and getting frustrated. You see the frustration. You look at the Steelers game, and I think it's just one of those things where he's just not the same player. And they're trying to do a lot of similar things to what they did in Houston to allow him to excel. You know, they're using a lot of empty. They're moving him around and things like that, but it's just not happening. And I don't know exactly where that disconnect is, but I think it is an opportunity for the Titans this weekend because, you know, Deshaun Watson, he has 3 fumbles in 2 games, and he lost 2 of them. So, and you see the way he tries to extend plays and how he holds the ball when he's doing that. In fact, Jeffrey Simmons said that, you know, I don't think anybody on the team fumbles more than the quarterback. So there's going to be opportunities there. And that's something I know that they're looking to do, right? Get more strip sacks. And there's going to be chances to do that this week. So the main thing is just make sure that they're swiping at the ball. And that's why you see some of the drills they're doing in ball disruption period where they're literally like they're swiping the left hand and then chopping down on the right to, you know, get the one hand separator from the ball and chop down the other to knock it out. So that'll be an area of focus.
Teron Davenport with us here on Robby and Rexrode. TD, obviously 2 huge plays down the field that the Titans connected on against the Chargers, the 70-yarder to Traylon Burks, 49-yarder to Chris Moore. What do you make of the way that Tim Kelly has gone about kind of setting those plays up, had opportunities for big plays in the Saints game that we discussed that, you know, we know that Ryan Tannehill missed on, but what do you make of the opportunity in this Tim Kelly offense for Ryan Tannehill in the passing attack to generate some big plays down the field from what you've seen?
Yeah, the timing of it is really good. That's actually something that I wrote about. It's posting tomorrow. I had it ready to go this morning, but it's going to go tomorrow. You have back-to-back drives of 3 and out, right? And you look at the first, the 70-yarder, back-to-back drives of 3 and out. The Chargers had just scored. The fans are booing. Everybody's restless. The offense is lifeless. And then that one play just turned everything around for them, right? 2 plays later, Derrick Henry punches it into the end zone. Those plays are really good. Back-to-back 3 and outs again later in the game, the 49-yarder to Chris Moore. Those plays just put life back into the offense. And obviously, when you get those big chunks, you know, you don't have to put together long drives, which is something, you know, we know the Titans have done well in the past, but it doesn't really happen as much now consistently. And those plays, like, they give you max protection. They open up windows. They move defenders, all of those things. It just makes it easier for Ryan Tannehill to find passing lanes. And in this case, in those ones, the protection gave Burks and Moore time to stack those corners, get behind them, and get vertical and actually have their routes carry out.
You mentioned max protect. So, you know, Newsome is one of the guys I'm looking at for them who may be missing here. They still have, you know, really good defensive personnel everywhere. But I guess if he's out, is like max protection and maybe trying to take advantage of a matchup downfield, is that more likely? Do you think max protection is like something the Titans are going to do a lot in this game or more than normal in this game?
Yeah, I think they're going to need to do it more than normal in this game because you got 2 guys on the end there in Zadarius Smith. We all talk about Myles Garrett, but Zadarius Smith is a pretty good player in his own right. So they're going to have max protection. I don't know that you want too many 5-on-5 matchups, with that group. And Dalvin Tomlinson collapsing the pocket from the interior is good too. So, yeah, I would say more. And, if you want to get some of those explosive plays, you need to get Tannehill the time to do it. So, without a doubt, I would see that happening more. And that's what we opened with, right? Trevon Wesco helping out, chipping and, doubling on Myles Garrett.
Well, TD, really appreciate you taking time to be with us as always. Enjoy yourself in Cleveland this weekend, and we'll talk to you next week.
All right, for sure. Appreciate you guys. Take it easy.
Teron Davenport, ESPN NFL Nation Titans reporter, host of Talking with TD, our guest here on Robby and Rexrode. By the way, Joe, Alex on YouTube says, according to Forbes, Ohio is one of the safest states to drive in. This is from Alex on YouTube. Your thoughts?
Well, if you're going 48 in the fast lane, I suppose that does probably help safety, right? So I guess there's something to be said for that. Don't let anybody go fast.
No one's in a rush in Ohio. 615-737-1025, our phone number. More on the Titans and the Browns coming up next. I thought some really interesting points from TD there. We'll get to those and kind of address those one by one coming up next. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5-106.3 The Game.
Vanderbilt football lives here.
This Saturday, it's Vanderbilt and Kentucky from First Bank Stadium. Coverage starts at 9:30 a.m. Kickoff at 11.
Your home for the Commodores is 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Smashville, Predators hockey is back, and you don't want to miss the biggest party on Broadway as we celebrate 25 years of Smashville all season long. Get your tickets now for opening night on October 12th as your Nashville Predators face off against the Seattle Kraken. Secure your seats now for the home opener at NashvillePredators.com/single-game tickets. That's NashvillePredators.com/single-game tickets. Let's go, Preds.
The two most sought-after, most prestigious names in bridal jewelry come together for one epic event this weekend at Genesis Diamonds.
Tacori and Verragio, the world's premier designers, are showing off their entire collections. All the latest designs, many showcased for the first time ever, with up to $5,000 in savings.
Everyone loves Tacori, meticulously crafted by master artisans in their California design studio. Discover the hidden details and exceptional quality that sets Tacori apart. There's always more than meets the eye with Tacori. Come explore the entire Tacori collection, including all new Tacori fine jewelry, earrings, bracelets, eternity bands, pendants, and more.
If you're engagement ring shopping, this is a once-a-year event you can't miss. Other jewelers aren't even allowed to carry these iconic American-made brands.
Also for this event, Genesis is showcasing an expanded selection of GIA-certified diamonds in all shapes and sizes.
Come join us and take advantage of special incentives, zero-interest financing, and as much as $5,000 in savings. This Friday through Sunday, only at Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Hey, this is the Fat Jack. We're in the middle of September. How is your gambling going? It is time to make some money, and I have got a deal for you. My once-a-month $99 weekend special. Go to FatJackSports.com, and this weekend only, it's only $99 to make money all the way through Monday. That's all the football, NFL, and college, and the free bases, only $99. Go to FatJackSports.com. Sign up today, and in September, into profit, stop guessing, and start winning at FatJackSports.com.
Actor Portrayal, based on a real patient experience.
I'm Mike. I'm a husband, proud father of two, work my butt off 6 days a week, some nights too. When my family or my company needs me to make it happen, I make it happen. But a few months ago, I started having trouble making it happen, in the bedroom. I tried some pills online, but they didn't work. Honestly, I thought about throwing in the towel on my sex life, but I'm not that old. I still want to enjoy intimacy with my wife. Like that poet said, I don't want to just go gently into that good night. So I went to the Tennessee Men's Clinic in Franklin, got some lab work done, was prescribed some meds, and wow, it made it happen. I can't say enough about them. Their providers took care of me, followed up, and made sure I had a treatment plan that actually works. It's awesome. If I were you, and you're like me, I'd give them a call today, 615-208-9090, or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. If you're like most guys, they'll make it happen for you too.
Visit our website to learn more, including side effects, treatments extra. Results vary.
Anyone want to tell me what happened?
Did you miss any of today's show?
It's okay. It's fine. Don't worry.
Subscribe to the Robby and Rexrode podcast on Apple, Spotify, and other podcast platforms, or by going to thegamenashville.com.
All right, I'll give it a shot.
Good morning. Good morning. You're locked into Robby and Rexrode, presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty.
I have the radio on. I'm listening to
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty, helping home buyers and sellers in Middle Tennessee for 20 years. We are live from our 102.5 The Game studio, brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Preds training camp is underway. First day on the ice yesterday. They'll be back out there this morning starting at 9 a.m. The Chase and Big Joe Show will be live from Preds training camp, presented by the new Cumberland Development. Junie Riddle out there this morning, so looking forward to that. Tune in for player interviews and the latest updates as the Preds prepare for the 2023-24 season. I'm going to be heading out to training camp later, so looking forward to checking that out. Going to be awesome to see hockey back in the fold. Doubleheader for the Predators coming up on Monday to get things rolling in the preseason. Thanks to Teron Davenport for being with us in the last segment. The Titans and the Browns coming up on Sunday. Raymond in Franklin on the text line says, Titans for sure need more max protection. If not, Tannehill's not going to finish the game. This from Raymond and Franklin on the text line. It is a big day to get the ball out quickly. Joe, we went through the Titans injuries earlier. Skoronski doesn't look like he's going to be available on Sunday, according to Vrabel earlier this week, so you figure it's Dylan Radins filling in at left guard for the Titans. On the defensive side, Christian Fulton and Amani Hooker, both full participants the last 2 days, so that bodes well for their status Sunday. Really the one I'm looking at right now, Harold Landry, a limited participant each of the past two days with a hamstring injury, Joe. And then Tier Tart didn't practice Wednesday with the knee, was limited yesterday with the knee as well. So I guess at least some progression there from Tart. But Landry and Tart, two of the ones I'm looking at pretty closely for their availability coming up on Sunday against the Browns.
Yeah, important players, obviously. Landry hasn't, rounded into form. No one would have expected that. Had a huge play last week. Still really important player. Tart is, again, I think one of the more underrated guys on the team. So it's a big part of why people don't run much on the Titans. So that would be a significant loss for sure if they weren't able to have Tart. Landry, I think this is, we haven't seen it. PK mentioned the other day, Gibson has not, maybe at some point you see something there.
Yep.
I've been waiting to see a flash play, flash play from Rashad Weaver. Maybe this is a week he gets a little bit more opportunity to do that. If Landry's limited, obviously with the hamstrings, you have one, and then, how long, what do? Do you keep trying to go and, kind of strain it and go back and forth, or do you try to shut it down for a little bit and hope it goes away? I don't know. But the Derrick Henry first day of him with a toe on the injury report, I thought was a little bit alarming, but I guess it was just rest yesterday. So I'm assuming he's going to be full go.
Yep, assuming he's going to be full go. Danico Autry has been a limited participant Wednesday and Thursday with the foot, so we'll see what that looks like for him, but feeling pretty good about him as we normally do. DeAndre Hopkins, full participant Wednesday, was limited yesterday with the ankle, but I would assume he'll be ready to go coming up on Sunday based on what he did last week. So Hopkins, Burks should be at their disposal. Like, Burks hasn't been on the injury report all week, so that's good to see. Still no Kyle Phillips in that offense, but Burks and Hopkins moving around outside, and they've supplemented it in with NWI and Chris Moore last week. So, the receivers, I think, have been good in this last game, creating some separation down the field, making some big plays that way. I guess the real question, TD talked about the timing there of setting those plays up and when they were called and providing a spark to the offense, all those things. Are you going to be able to do that on Sunday? Can you find a play or two in the game where you can take a shot down the field, be that with Burks, be that with whoever, where you can try to stretch the field vertically? We've talked so much about the pass rush for Cleveland, and that's certainly, I think the strength of their defense. But they do have a really good secondary as well. Ward's a great player. Newsome, I think, is really good. And right now, Joe, it looks like his status is in jeopardy for the Browns side of things. So that would be a big loss for the Browns, potentially an opportunity for the Titans if Greg Newsome can't play with the elbow injury that he's dealing with.
Yeah, for sure. He's a very good player, and he's a guy when you see a DNP 2 straight days. And the injury itself, I know at the time looked like it might be somewhat significant. So that would be certainly a big loss for Cleveland. I look at the Titans schedule, and really, you could argue this is basically it's this. And then the other 2 games where it's like, man, you really got to figure a way to protect Tannehill and get him through a game. It's this one. It's at the Steelers, which is a Thursday, right? That's a Thursday night game. Yes, yep. That's a Thursday night game. And then it's at the Dolphins, which, early on watching the Dolphins, I think they have all the elements. Is their quarterback going to play all year? And they have a fierce pass rush too. That's another primetime road game. Those 2 in this one are the games where, not that there aren't other good pass rushers on the schedule, but they've gotten past Bosa now. They struggled against the Saints. There's some other weeks. Most of the rest of the schedule, I think it's manageable for them, But to the Texans' point, it's not just like, how can you win the game? How can you make plays? How can you give yourself time? Like, how can you make sure Ryan Tannehill is still your starting quarterback when the game is over?
Well, and can you do it? Can your offensive line do it from the jump? And one thing we've talked about is, for 2 weeks, it's been kind of a slow build for the offensive line. They've struggled at the beginning of these games, and then it feels like they've gotten better as the game's gone along. Like, can you be as sharp as they can be? And what that is, I don't know. Like, when the Titans' offensive line is at the top of their game, pass blocking wise, how good are they? I don't know. I mean, we'll continue to gather information on that. But whatever that looks like, can you be at that level from the word go on Sunday? Because against the Saints and certainly last week against the Chargers, they were getting whipped in the first part of that game, and then they settled in a little bit. I'm interested to see on Sunday, can they get whatever's causing that corrected and be good from the jump of this game on Sunday, because they need to be.
Yeah, and it's everything. It's different situations. One, in the Saints game, you have the false starts and stuff. That place was outrageously loud. It's the season opener. That's one of the toughest places to play. So you make some mistakes, get behind the chains, and then eventually, like you said, got better. I mean, last week, I think some of it is just that Xavier Newman's in the game. You have a miscommunication, which poor Andre Dillard gets that sack according to the PFF graders.
Yep.
But that was a communication mistake, which I'm assuming Xavier Newman should have blocked someone on that play. And so there's some different factors involved in that. But I agree, it still seems like overall they just played better as the games went on. I mean, that's a good thing. You'd rather that than the other way around, like last year when basically the Titans would hope to get a field goal after halftime of games. But I agree with you. You got to come right out, and it's like the Browns last game. They come right out and give the Steelers a free touchdown on defense and then give them the winning touchdown on defense later. But you don't want to come out and, immediately let Tannehill get caved in on, and be looking at a 3rd and 9 and get the place riled up and lose some confidence. Can you have a good start, kind of keep them off balance with a good early drive?
Dog pound can get rowdy in there, man. Or as Jamar Chase calls them, like the elves. The elves can get a little rowdy in there.
I didn't get that. What did he mean by that?
They got that logo, right? Like that Browns logo that they got at the middle of the field is just like the elf. I think that's what he meant. Yeah.
Yeah, what's that about?
I don't know. I have no idea.
We have so many questions about the state of Ohio today.
Dustin on the text line says, more injuries just racking up once again. No team can be this badly unhealthy this many years. There's got to be a voodoo doll of each key player somewhere just cracking ankles or poking gallbladders. There's from Dustin on the text line. Actually, I know there are a lot of names on the injury report, Joe, but I feel like they're still, for the most part, relatively healthy at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's this is one of those, again, look around things. Now, I'm not arguing at all the last 2 years the Titans had the worst injury luck, period. But let's look at the injury report. Let's see. Cleveland Browns, I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, I see 14 guys on there, and it's week 3, So, and look, a lot of times guys get on the injury. I mean, like Njoku was just on there because he had a rest day.
Right.
So, but point being, watch these guys play and smash into each other. It's sometimes it's amazing they get through 4 games of a season.
Coming up next, it's time for Pigskin Pick'em here on Robby and Rexrode. Big weekend in college football coming up, and week 3 of the NFL with some intriguing matchups. We'll get to the Titans, the Vols, Vanderbilt, and more. All that next. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
New home. New energy. Same Blue Raiders.
99 yards! Touchdown, Middle Tennessee!
Catch every game for MTSU on 93.3 Classic Hits. Coach Rick Stockstill is poised to lead his team to yet another bowl appearance.
We're really excited about this opportunity.
Your home for the Blue Raiders is 93.3 Classic Hits and the Classic Hits app.
At Harbor Freight, we think you shouldn't have to break the bank to get great tools. Because we know that for some of you, tools are part of the job. And for others, they're just the beginning of making, fixing, restoring, and building. That's why we make high-quality tools that are priced affordably. Because we love being the start of all your working, making, fixing, restoring, and building. Whatever you do it for less at Harbor Freight.
At Mercedes-Benz of Music City, a healthy and productive culture takes a day-to-day discipline. Here's Sam Cavett, General Manager, with a few thoughts.
Mercedes-Benz has its standard, and we have Dream Motor Group standards. They're definitely on the same level, but I feel like we challenge ourselves at least as much as Mercedes-Benz challenges us. It's a genuine motivation to take care of customers, and we see it in the customer reviews.
Live the dream at Mercedes-Benz of Music City, mbofmc.com.
When getting the job done right is job one, you need construction equipment that's built right. From compact track loaders to the world's #1 selling compact excavator, the Kubota construction lineup features durable Kubota engines, more comfort, and the versatility to do it all and do it right. Visit your local Kubota dealer today. Go to KubotaUSA.com for full disclaimer.
Oh, Charlie's, that's where you find me. That southern flavor got me saying, hey, y'all. Young, have some fun, share with the ones you love. Don't you wanna roll?
At O'Charlie's, we thought you'd enjoy a little country rock and rolls. The warm, buttery, delicious kind. Served free with every meal. O'Charlie's. Oh, that's good.
Young, have some fun, Charlie's. Born in Nashville and it shows.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control of your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problem now by calling the experts at U.S. Tax Shield and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, so call now. 800-687-5192. That's 800-687-5192. U.S. Tax Shield. 800-687-5192.
If it's important to Nashville,
I'll put it out right now.
It's important to Jared Stillman.
Like, that's it.
He's not afraid to ask the tough questions.
Something is going on, and the question is, what does it mean?
Or give the strong opinion.
And just needed the bozo offensive coordinator to stop ruining the quarterback.
Stillman and Company. Weekdays at 2 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey Nashville, this is Mookie Betts. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Now, it's time for Pigskin Pick'em with Robby and Rexrode on ESPN 102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
It is time for Pigskin Pick'em here on Robby and Rexrode. Lots of big games coming up this weekend. We'll take your thoughts on all of it. 615-737-1025 on our text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Not a great week last week in Pigskin Pick'em for us. Rexrode did the best, 3-3 with his lock last week. Good for 4
First
points.
place, Joe Rexrode.
Well, you're tied. But
first place.
You are in first place. Nick Keyser and myself, both 2-4 with no lock last week. So that brings the overall standings to as follows. Joe Rexrode, a record of 9-9 through the first 3 weeks of Pigskin Pick'em. 1-2 on his locks, good for 10 points. I have the exact same record, 9-9, 1-2 of my locks, 10 points. Nick Keyser, the caboose right now in the competition, 8-10 overall, 1-2 on his locks, good for 9 points. So a very close competition through the first few weeks of Pigskin Pick'em. With that in mind, let's get rolling today. Joe Rexrode, you are in first, technically, so you can go first. Kentucky and Vanderbilt coming up tomorrow here in Nashville. Kentucky, a 13.5-point favorite in this game. Rexrode, who are you taking between Kentucky and the Doors?
Yeah, I got to go Kentucky. And, the 13.5 helps there too, because I see something like a 14 to 17-point win for Kentucky. I just think Vanderbilt has too many issues, including injuries, and Kentucky wants this one because when you lose to Vanderbilt in a given season, the next season you're like, we're not losing to Vanderbilt 2 games in a row. And frankly, Ray Davis makes a difference for Kentucky, is missed by Vanderbilt, so give me Kentucky.
Yeah, quite frankly, I don't know how good Kentucky is. Like, I've watched a little of them this year, and there are times where you say, they got some pretty good talent out there. I like Leary as quarterback, but they've also looked rough a few times this year. Having said that, I just don't trust Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt's defense has been really bad this year, and I don't see that really turning around with the injuries that they have on that side of the ball. So I'll go Kentucky, and I'm locking down on it. Give me Kentucky and the lock minus the 13.5. Nick Keyser, Kentucky favored by 13.5 against Vanderbilt.
Yeah, I'm going to go Kentucky too. I think the Wildcats just completely dictate the game. It should be a matchup that maybe Clark Lee can see some positives from, but we'll see, because I know he's wanted A.J. Swan to kind of go through his progressions, and he also wants some of his weapons to stand out. DeRicky Wright, we hope that he's doing well after hearing that update from him earlier this week. But in this matchup, I think it's the Wildcats, guys.
UTSA taking on Tennessee tomorrow at Neyland Stadium. Tennessee favored by 21.5 in this game. Joe, this one's tough. I'll start us off on this one. I mean, this is, I believe, probably the toughest non-conference game that Tennessee is going to play this year, which, number one, does not speak well to their non-conference schedule. The quarterback and his availability for UTSA makes this tough because they're a much different team when he's in there. I'm going to go Tennessee minus the 21.5. I don't think it's going to be much more than that. I'll go Tennessee by about 24, somewhere in that neighborhood. Joe, I think that losing to Florida in the fashion that they did last week will create a little bit more angst for this Tennessee team, and they'll try to let out some of that frustration. So I will reluctantly go Tennessee minus the 21.5. Nick Keyser, Tennessee, favored by 21.5 against UTSA.
Yep. Frank Harris does not sound like he's going to play. However, he is listed as a game-time decision. I've kind of, seen some updates from folks that I knew when I was covering Conference USA talking about him this week. So we'll see if he actually suits up or not. But give me the Vols as well. Robby, I kind of agree with that mindset in terms of the point spread. So give me the Tennessee Volunteers, and they, by golly, have to improve this week.
Rexrode, Tennessee by 21.5 in this game.
Yeah, I don't like it, but I'm going Vols also. I'd love it to be 20.5. I'd feel a lot better about 20.5. But, yeah, I mean, I think that uncertainty, I think the defense is going to absolutely have something to prove in this game, and will probably make some big plays happen for some turnovers. Don't love that kind of a spread, given what we've seen for the Vols offense, but I'll reluctantly go there.
The Titans taking on the Browns in the great state of Ohio on Sunday. Browns favored by 3.5 at home in this game. Nick Keyser, your thoughts on the Titans and the Browns? Browns favored by 3.5.
If Nick Folk kicks a game-winning field goal, that would be amazing. So we'll see. But I am confident in the Tennessee Titans, so we'll see if the Two-Tone Blue get the job done, whether it's a game-winning field goal or not. I think I like that point spread, so give me the Titans this weekend.
So going with the Titans plus the 3.5. Joe Rexrode, Browns favored by 3.5 in this game Sunday.
Well, if he kicks a game-winning field goal, you're going to be wrong, Nick.
I know.
Yeah, I hate the half there too. But I'm going to go Titans. I think Titans win something like 20-16. So it's a good point spread, but I'm going to go Titans.
I'm going Browns in this game. I think they end up winning by a touchdown. I think the pass rush is going to be all over Tannehill in this game, and I think Deshaun Watson and Amari Cooper will make just enough plays in this game to win the game. So right around 4, 5, somewhere in that neighborhood, I think the Browns win, but I'll take the Browns minus the 3.5. We move to the individual portion of the program. Joe Rexrode, your first individual selection.
Yeah, but by the way, I'm glad we didn't all go totally WHMR on the Vols and Titans, but we went totally WHTR on Vandy.
We did.
So, yes. Game we talked about earlier, Florida State at Clemson. Clemson getting 2. Yeah, I love Florida State. I think they're going to go in there and not blow them out, but win convincingly. Give me the Noles.
Going with Florida State minus 2 against Clemson. Nick, your first individual selection.
I'm going to go down to Alabama, but I'm going to go to the Auburn Tigers. And this is also going to be my lock. They are plus 8.5 over Texas A&M. And I like this matchup. I think it will be a fun one, and that is my brother's school. So I got to give my brothers a little shout out here this morning. So I want to see them get the dub over the Aggies.
So Auburn plus the 8.5 against Texas A&M. Texas A&M, Nick locking down on that one. My first individual selection, life after Luke Fickell looks a little rough for Cincinnati. They lost to Ohio the other day. Give me Oklahoma minus 13.5 against Cincinnati. Sooners look great in week 1 against Butch Jones. And that god-awful Arkansas State team, I think they go on the road to Cincinnati, and they cover that spread. I'll go with the Sooners, minus 13.5 against Cincinnati. Nick, your second individual selection.
I'm going to go Commanders 6.5 over the Bills. It may not look that much like a good pick, but I think the Commanders will have a shockingly good game against the Bills, honestly. I really do.
They're going Washington plus the 6.5 against Buffalo coming up on Sunday. Joe Rexrode, your second individual selection.
Yeah, I'm looking at Panthers Seahawks, and it doesn't sound good for Bryce Young. I'm seeing the Seahawks minus 6 at home against the Panthers. Yeah, that's an absolute lock for me. Seahawks lock minus 6 against the Panthers.
So going Seattle and locking down minus 6 against the Panthers. Andy Dalton looked like he's going to be starting at quarterback for Carolina coming up on Sunday. So the Red Rifle back at it again. If he goes
For
nuts,
Jared, then. For Jared, watch out for the upset.
Yeah.
Upset watch.
We'll see what happens. I will go Pittsburgh plus 7.5 against North Carolina. You know, it's a friend of the show, Pat Narduzzi. I think they're going to muck this game up enough to where they'll make it closer than the 7.5. I think North Carolina wins by about a touchdown in this game, Joe, but the 7.5 gives me confidence that Pittsburgh at home can cover. So I will go with the Pittsburgh Panthers plus the 7.5 against North Carolina. Friend of the show, Pat Narduzzi.
I'll tell you what, they need to muck it up because Narduzzi may need to be moving on soon from both the quarterback, who's a BC transfer, and the OC. It has been awful
It
for
has
Pittsburgh.
been rough to watch offensively, no question about that. Joe Rexrode, your final individual selection.
Well, I'm going to Robbie Stanley land. Saints, Packers. Packers at home minus 1.5. Yeah, man, I like the Packers absolutely. Give me the Packers. I feel good about that. It was almost my lock.
Going Packers minus 1.5 at home against Derek Carr and the New Orleans Saints on Sunday. Nick Keyser, your final individual selection.
Give me my theme music. Look, no one wants to touch this game. I'm kind of shocked, especially you, Joe, but give me Colorado over Oregon. It's going to be one hell of a game this weekend. It's going to stir up the nation, and I'm excited for it.
So just to be clear, you're taking Colorado plus the 21, or are you saying they're going to win the game outright?
Win the game.
Wow. How about that? So we'll give
Wait,
you,
so
what are we giving you credit for? Plus the 21
you don't
or
want
the win?
Points?
The win.
Wow. He's going money line, Joe. Just say he
Money
said
line.
it. Colorado
Oh, my
money
goodness.
line against. I'm just saying he said it. We gave him 2 chances. He said it. Money line.
I just want to see it.
Against
I just wanna
Oregon.
see it.
All right. Colorado money
I
line.
love the boldness.
Against
That's a
Oregon
cold shot.
on the road coming up on Saturday. Should be an interesting game. No question about that. Joe, my final pick, I'm going to the NFL. The Patriots are favored by 2.5 on the road against the Jets this weekend, and I understand that Zach Wilson is not very good, and he had a bad game against the Cowboys. I do think the Jets' defense is going to absolutely stifle New England, especially because I didn't think the Jets' defense played very well last week, so I think they're going to be pretty mad this week heading into this game. I would go Jets plus 2.5 against the Patriots, and I think there's a good chance that the Jets win that game outright. But I, unlike Nick, will take the points, and I go Jets plus 2.5 against the Patriots on Sunday. Joe Rexrode.
Yeah, I understand the thinking there for sure. That's an interesting game. They look so bad, but home with that defense, the Patriots offense, yeah, I don't hate it.
Hey, there's a thought out there, Joe, that like if the Vikings lose this week and they fall to 0-3, could the tank be on in Minnesota, and could the Minnesota Vikings be looking to move Kirk Cousins? What would you think about a New York Jets phone call to Captain Kirk?
Love it. Super Bowl. Let's do it. Get him out of there. Get him out of the team that has 0 running game and a terrible defense. Absolutely.
By the way,
Here for it.
what a sneaky big game that is this weekend. The Chargers and the Vikings. LA going on the road to Minnesota. Both of them at 0-2. You don't want to lose that game. Somebody's going to 0-3. I mean, I guess unless they tie on Sunday. But that's a sneaky big game for 0-2 teams.
Huge. I mean, it's super huge, I think, for one of the coaches. obviously O'Connell's new in Minnesota, but yeah, I mean, either one of those teams is in a world of hurt. I gotta say, I mean, like if the Vikings lose this game, and I know they just got Akers, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know how much he's got left, but they got Akers. But I honestly don't. I mean, I seriously don't hate the idea at all. Get into the Caleb sweepstakes and send Kirk to a better team.
615-737-1025, our phone number. Coming up next, we'll give our final thoughts on the Titans and the Browns matchup. Take your thoughts on that. A big weekend of college football, all of it available on the text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode, 102.5-106.3 The Game.
Green right, box 2 run, double K.
He takes you inside the huddle through the eyes of a quarterback.
Wide 85, take!
Catch ESPN NFL analyst Tim Hasselbeck every Tuesday at noon as he breaks down the big stories in the NFL.
Buffalo, maybe Miami.
And with the Tennessee Titans.
The Titans might be like, we're interested in a 1-year, $1 million contract.
Tim Hasselbeck is on Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
When you own a business, it's like another member of your family. Its success takes time. It requires money, attention, and tools to help it grow. At F&M Bank, we'll treat your business like family, building trust and responding quickly when you need us. No matter your business goals, you can reach them easier when you have a banking relationship that supports you, tools to conveniently manage your money coming in and going out, and expertise to make your business better. Bank your business at F&M Bank. myfmbank.com. Banking made easy on purpose. Member FDIC.
Caroline Fenton here for my friends at Sean Hammond's Jiu-Jitsu Academy. They supply a very safe and family-friendly environment with classes daily. Classes range from Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai, cardio kickboxing, ladies and kids programs, and so much more. Black belt instructed classes for men, women, and kids of all ages. You'll gain knowledge in self-defense, get a great workout, and get in the best shape of your life. Located at 2909 Armory Drive in South Nashville, call Sean Hammond's Jiu-Jitsu Academy today to set up your free trial. Learn more at SeanHammondsBJJ.com.
This year, Boys and Girls Club of Middle Tennessee celebrates its 120th anniversary. Through time, BGCMT continues to evolve to enable all young people, especially those who need us most, to reach their full potential as productive, caring, and responsible leaders. Because of your continued support, BGCMT has remained strong and is committed to supporting our youth and solidifying our mission and culture in new exciting ways for 120 years. Visit bgcmt.org today.
The two most sought-after, most prestigious names in bridal jewelry come together for one epic event this weekend at Genesis Diamonds.
Tacori and Viraggio, the world's premier designers, are showing off their entire collections. All the latest designs, many showcased for the first time ever, with up to $5,000 in savings.
Everyone loves Tacori, meticulously crafted by master artisans in their California design studio. Discover the hidden details and exceptional quality that sets Tacori apart. There's always more than meets the eye with Tacori. Come explore the entire Tacori collection, including all new Tacori fine jewelry, earrings, bracelets, eternity bands, pendants, and more.
If you're engagement ring shopping, this is a once-a-year event you can't miss. Other jewelers aren't even allowed to carry these iconic American-made brands.
Also for this event, Genesis is showcasing an expanded selection of GIA-certified diamonds in all shapes and sizes.
Come join us and take advantage of special incentives, zero-interest financing, and as much as $5,000 in savings. This Friday through Sunday, only at Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
My check engine light's on?
That could hurt your gas mileage. The AutoZone free Fix Finder service can help find the fix for free.
Get in zone.
This whole report for free?
That's right, printed and on your phone for free.
Get in zone.
But what if the fix is too tough?
We'll recommend a local shop. Fix Finder, only at AutoZone.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
He breaks down every game.
The players are still going to be fine.
And knows the ins and outs of the two-tone blue.
They deal with their own position coaches.
He is ESPN NFL Nation Titans reporter Teron Davenport.
It's clear what he's doing.
TD joins every Monday at 1, Thursdays at 3, Friday mornings at 8, and anytime on the Talkin' with TD podcast.
I think that's really cool how he could show both sides.
TD is on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're locked into Robby and Rexrode.
Every morning, first thing.
Presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Tune in to 102.5, 106.3 The Game tomorrow at 6 p.m. for our college football game of the week. Arkansas taking on LSU, presented by Twin Peaks. Take your tailgate to Twin Peaks for scenic views of all the hottest college football games across the country. And there are a lot of hot college football games tomorrow. Big schedule in college football. Ohio State taking on Notre Dame in South Bend. Looking forward to that one. Alabama, Ole Miss. Jalen Milroe back at quarterback tomorrow for Alabama, Joe. I'm interested to see can Lane Kiffin go in there with Judkins and Dart and that crew, and can they win in Tuscaloosa? Will Alabama drop back-to-back home games? They lose to Texas a couple weeks ago, on the road last week at USF. Will they drop back-to-back home games? They are a 7-point favorite in this game, but that's a doozy of a game tomorrow, Ole Miss and Alabama.
Look, I mean, they've got the personnel allegedly on paper to run all over Ole Miss and clamp down on their offense.
Yep.
But
they couldn't run on South Florida, though. So,
yeah, I know. I mean, and I think, that's where Milroe, you got to lean into what he brings. Plus, I think he's as good as everything else as the other guys, if not better. So, weird how that all went about, but he's the right choice. And they just got to start looking like the Alabama team we thought they were going to be defensively and up front offensively. But, they got like the freshman tackle, and they're struggling.
They are, and I'm interested to see, does he come in and give that offense a jolt tomorrow, and can their defense slow down an offense from Ole Miss that we know what Lane Kiffin is as a play caller, and, Judkins might be the best back in the SEC, depending on who you ask, so it's going to be interesting game tomorrow in Tuscaloosa. We'll see how that part of it goes. Like we talked about, Arkansas, LSU in the SEC tomorrow. Vanderbilt, Kentucky getting things rolling at 11 a.m. here on 102.5 The Game. Pregame beginning at 9:30, so make sure you check that out. This is a big game for Vanderbilt. I mean, defensively, it is a different matchup than what they've seen to this point. Like, we know what Kentucky's offense and their style is. It's more of a pro-style offense, and they're going to turn around and hand the ball off a lot. It's not like they're going to spread things out all that much and throw it all the way around the yard. Like, can Vanderbilt's defense hold up a little bit better in this game? What do they look like from an injury standpoint? How effective can DeRicky Wright be based on the injury that he's playing through at the moment? That talking to Clark Lee on our show the other day, doesn't feel like it's really going to get all that much better as he continues to play through it. So, what does that look like for Vanderbilt if he's able to go? Defensively, to me, I'm with you. Like, I didn't expect them to be like some defensive juggernaut this year. I have been pretty disappointed in what I've seen from them defensively thus far. I thought they would be better and getting off the field a little bit more consistently than they have.
Yeah, you've had some big plays in the secondary. To your point, they have played some different styles of a wide range, which I think could be good in terms of, non-league play, preparing you for different things, stuff like that. Maybe this matchup suits them a little bit better, but yeah, I thought that they would take I thought they'd be really good up front offensively, like relative to Vanderbilt traditionally, very good up front offensively. That hasn't played out. And I thought they'd look more like an SEC team up front defensively, and that hasn't really played out either. Maybe, like you said, West Coast offense, it's a little bit, I think they've got some pretty good box linebackers that have been caught in space a lot this year that's been problematic. Game like this suits those guys a little bit better. So we'll see. But then you throw in the injuries and the fact that, like, even, CJ Taylor and DeRicky Wright, those are the two difference makers on defense, both banged up. It sounds like, both are going to play, but then you have a bunch of other guys missing too. The O-line's banged up. I mean, I think Vanderbilt, is going to have to make explosive plays in the passing game, and they can. They can have success in the passing game this week, and I think most weeks in the SEC. I just don't feel great about any other aspect of Vanderbilt's game right now against legitimate competition.
Big game for Joe Milton and that Tennessee offense tomorrow. They need to put up a number against that UTSA team. I say they need to. I'm not overly confident that they will. It's a big game. Number one, I think they should be able to run the ball tomorrow. I would be very disappointed if I'm Tennessee and the offensive line is a problem tomorrow against UTSA. If you're having problems against UTSA tomorrow, that does not bode well for what could be coming against South Carolina and Texas A&M in the next few weeks before you get to Bama. So big game for Joe Milton, big game for that offense. And from a confidence standpoint, from a narrative standpoint, from basically everything you're looking at right now from Tennessee offensively, it would behoove them to play well and put up a number, and for your freshman quarterback to get into the game because you're up by a lot of points tomorrow. I think that would relax a lot of this fan base, and it would behoove them to do that tomorrow against UTSA, I believe.
So does Joe Milton get booed if it's ugly early? Do the Vols get booed? Are there chance for Nico?
Yes,
if
all three.
The early stage, yes to all three. Yeah, quickly.
I would say if they don't get things going by the end of the first quarter, you're going to see some restlessness in that stadium. I'd be surprised if not. Yeah. Whether that's fair or unfair, I think that's what you'll see.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. And look, I think it's definitely fair to be restless and boo the offense and be upset about that. Just, again, you have to think about everything, including right now the offensive line is absolutely a problem for Tennessee. So what's the benefit if you're already kind of like looking toward the future? Yeah, I know some people think the 5-star comes in, he's a superstar right away, but that's not realistic. So what are you doing to throw him in behind that line the way it's playing right now? Also, Joe Milton needs to have a good start and kind of quiet it all down.
Also, what's going on with Cooper Mays? Like, he was supposedly, going to be ready to play for Virginia in the immediate aftermath of whatever this injury is for him. And now he was a game-time decision last week, couldn't play, and now he's a game-time decision this week. Like, if he doesn't play tomorrow, and I know it's UTSA, so maybe you're just cautious with him anyway, but this has gone on longer than I think even they originally thought it would with Cooper Mays.
Well, yeah, especially because there was a lot of optimism stated early in Florida week, and so it is a little bit confusing. It was a minor medical procedure that he had in the middle of fall camp. So, it's pain tolerance and things like that. You want to make sure he's all good for A&M, South Carolina, all those teams, but still it is surprising and it's not great. They need him.
There's no question about that. Titans and the Browns coming up this weekend. Rexrode will be live in Cleveland covering the game. We'll have you covered Monday morning for full reaction to the Titans and the Cleveland Browns coming up on Sunday. That's going to do it for us today here on Robby and Rexrode. Hope everybody has a wonderful weekend. The Chase and Big Joe show coming up next.